Welcome to the Gaelan Trombley Show. You can find me on Facebook at Gaelan Trombley, on Instagram at Gaelan Trombley, and on YouTube at Gaelan Trombley. Spelling GaelanTrombley. Enjoy the show. On episode 41 of the Gaelan Trombley Show, we have Kristy Kennedy from the Chamber of Commerce. She is the Vice President of Marketing and the Director of Tourism. We talk about both of those things, plus a lot of fun hobbies that she likes to do. My voice is a little scratchy from this past weekend, which I talk about very briefly, but most of the episode is Kristy talking about her love of the area and all the fabulous things that our Adirondack Coast has to offer. So I hope you guys all enjoy episode 41 of the Gaelan Trombley Show. Welcome to the Gaelan Trombley Show. Welcome to the Gaelan Trombley Show. Actually, I don't even know what I said there, so this is live. I was just talking to my guest how I do a formal intro, and then I couldn't think in my head how I actually start each show, which normally happens. So I'll do that intro later. You probably already heard it if you're listening to the podcast. So we're here. This is episode 41 of the Gaelan Trombley Show. I have Kristy Kennedy here, and Kristy is the VP of Marketing and Director of Tourism at the North Country Chamber of Commerce. She was on my... I always talk about a list of guests that I want to have on the podcast, and she's been on it. I procrastinated in actually asking her to be on it, but here she is live in the studio, and I asked if her name was Kristy Kennedy, and she said, what was it?
Every day.
Every day. So Kristy, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I feel like special, like I'm on this list.
You're on the special list.
Yes.
It's only,
list.
It's probably like 20-something names. But I keep kind of scratching them off, so it's because this is episode 41 now. So we've had we've had a few repeat guests. I'd say in general we've had 35 guests.
Wow!
So it's good, and we keep adding to it. Our goal was 52 by the end of the year, one a week, but I think we'll pass that.
It sounds like it.
Yeah,
so we've still got half a year left.
We're doing good. I got a few lined up. I'm now starting to go after people that aren't my friends. Not in a bad way, but like people that I don't know super well. Because, of course, like when I first started, you had it. I had Matt Craig, I had Meg Whedon, I had Ryan Lee and Nicole, and I had all these people that it was like easy for me. Like, because I had to get into, I could basically screw up with them before I started bringing on people that I was like, don't screw up this interview. It's going to be good.
And they can't make fun of you because they're your friends. So they have to still be your friends at the end of the day.
And they can't say no to the podcast. Right. So I'm like, you guys want to do it? And they're like, oh, God, okay, I'll do it.
And they know all your flaws anyway. So they're like, yeah, okay.
That's it. Yeah. And we were playing in a golf tournament the other day, and it was your golf tournament the other day. I know,
that was fun.
And you saw my team. So my team was Chris Boyer, Andy Lamonto, and our captain, Aaron Benner. And Aaron, I think it was by like the 7th hole, turns to me. We were riding in the car together, and he goes, there hasn't been one short joke this whole time. I said, Aaron, we know you way too well. We can't pull that card right now because it's too easy. It's too easy with him. So we had a good time. My friends come on, and they're good, and love talking to them. They're my repeat guests. They're the ones that if I get a cancellation in a pinch, I usually start shooting out texts, and they're like, yeah, I'll come do it. So, because there's a lot of stuff I don't know about you. I just found out a couple cool things about you. But give us your background, how you became 2019 Kristy.
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm actually from this area. So I was born in Rochester, lived in Vermont for a little while, but my family's from here. So about when I was in middle school, we moved back to the area, and I went through the whole school system here, the great city school system. And I always tell people I went to PHS, which I loved, and then I decided I needed to go to college, and I made the great leap across the sidewalk.
That's it.
It was a great move. And I was like, wow, guys, I got to pack a bag. And I went to SUNY Plattsburgh and got my degree in mass communications, which is kind of perfect for podcasts. And I worked in radio, and I thought I would love it.
Perfect for podcasts, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I thought radio's awesome. You get to talk for a living, and I love to talk. And then I realized that you go in a room and talk by yourself. That's so boring. And to start out, you're at midnight, and I can't stay awake. And like I would crave when other people would come into the studio. I'd be like, hey, come in. No, okay. So I'd like got really sick of talking to walls.
It's like when Joe Dirt comes in. I got the janitor. Come on, we can do this.
Yeah, anyone want to
story.
talk to me? Anyone? And so I decided this wasn't for me, but I still liked the aspect of being around people and marketing and promotions, and worked over here for actually someone you probably know well, but I worked for Neil Facette for a while, for 4 or 5 years. And
in real estate?
I was his office manager. I did all the marketing.
Awesome. Okay.
And that's
what year was this?
2005 to 2008.
Okay. Before my real estate. Like I said, maybe I met you before.
No,
before me.
No. And so he just had moved to the office on the Oval.
Yep.
And so I came on board and helped him with that and kind of all of his marketing stuff, and met a ton of great people in the community. And then decided to take a leap again. I saw there was a job at the North Country Chamber for a group marketing. So someone to do the bass fishing tournaments that we have here and bring motor coaches to the area and groups and things like that. And I jumped at it and got the job there. And I've been there for 11 years.
That's crazy. So I just met, I think I like formally met you, probably 3, 4, 5 months ago, maybe. And I had heard about you from many people. I had seen you around and heard. You're one of those people that when people say I mention Kristy Kennedy, they get a big smile on their face and
thank
say,
God.
Yeah, well, I mean, most of the people, 90%. No, but then they go,
we all have enemies.
Yeah, then they say, oh, absolutely love her. And I said, this is great. I got to meet this lady. And then I ended up meeting you, and you lived up to the billing. But so I met at the, I always pronounce or say it wrong, but North
Country Connection.
North Country Connections. I was going to say Chamber Connections. North Country Connections. And the people there are extremely nice because I met basically all of them at that point. Yeah. And I don't know why it took me as long as it did to get involved with like the more local community, but I really like the last 2 years have just jumped out through ADKYP, and then probably this year more so the Chamber. Last year I went to a lot of the after hours, but I was still so new that I didn't meet a lot of people, but the group of people was great there. So
that was awesome.
What was your interest in getting into North Country Chamber or
the North Country?
No. North Country Chamber of Commerce. What was your why did you want to go that way? Was it because of the actual position, or was it because of you promoting the area? Because you've done some cool things since you've been there.
Actually, I had always thought, even before the job opportunity came at the Chamber, I thought, wouldn't it be great to tell people about our community? Because how many times have somebody said, oh, there's nothing to do here? Mm-hmm. And it used to infuriate me because there's so much to do here. Yes, we don't have an amusement park. Yes, we don't have, the things some people think of that make a great city, but we have a lake and we have mountains and we have great wineries and breweries, and how can you say there's nothing to do here? So it actually always made me upset. And then I was like, I wonder if there's a way that I can take my love of the area and tell people about it. And I had no clue at the time that that's what the Chamber of Commerce did. I was naive to that. I was 26 years old. And all of a sudden, I started talking about this position, and I was like, oh my God, here's the fit I was looking for. I can tell people that we live in a really cool spot. And then having worked with Facette and with Neil, I got to meet a lot of really cool community members. And then that kind of even drove me further. We have great business community. We have great businesses here who are doing great things. And every owner wants to do better for the community. It's very rarely are they like, well, I'm only here to make myself money. It's like, no, I want to leave this place better and do something bigger. And so that's really what kind of drove me. And then when this opportunity came about, it was kind of like that perfect storm came together. And that was how I got involved, and that's what I love about it, and that's still what I love about the Chamber.
And one of the things that I believe this was you had done this because someone told me this, but the Adirondack Coast, that was a rebranding that you did. Were you part of that?
I was part of it. Just before, when I first came on board, there was a person in my position. We were like the team for tourism, and she really came up with the brand for the Adirondack Coast, and we were going to change it. Michelle Powers, and she wanted to change it to the Adirondack Coast, and so we just kind of jumped on board, and she has since left the Chamber, but I kept moving through and kept that going. And now we've done we have community members talking about us as the Adirondack Coast. And
that I do all the time now. Yeah. Now it's become part of my, is it vernacular?
It is vernacular.
That's a big word. That's a big word for me. That's a big word for me. Yeah. So, but it's become part of my vernacular when I actually say stuff, and besides just hashtagging all over social media with ADKCoast, but I say it a lot, Adirondack Coast, to refer to the areas which I love because I just think it's a brilliant, it's easier to say, like, instead of North Country or upstate New York, Adirondack Coast, they can kind of pick out where that is because it's...
That was it exactly. Everyone has a North Country when it comes to visitors and marketing, Every state has a North Country. But when we're off talking to somebody in San Diego or, we were just in St. Louis, whenever we're there and we can say the Adirondack Coast, they automatically know we're in New York. They don't need to know Plattsburgh. They don't need to know Peru or Shazy. They just need to know the Adirondacks are in New York.
Is there any other place with I know the Adirondack Mountains, but there's not like another location that's like Adirondacks anywhere? You know, like the Adirondack chairs and things. Yep. It's always it's just us up here.
Just us.
I'm not sure. Did you know there's a Plattsburgh, Missouri?
Yes.
In Clinton County, Missouri.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and I don't think they put the H at the end.
No, and for a long time we didn't have the H.
Correct. All the old maps still say just the G.
Yep.
So I wasn't sure if there was like another, not Adirondack Mountains, but is there like another Adirondack region or something? So
we are it.
That's good.
So that was it. It's something we can own and no one else can own, and so that's why Adirondack Coast. And it's funny. I'll be places and they'll be like, the Adirondack Coast? You're on the ocean? New York's not on the ocean. And I'm like, a coast never means ocean. No. It means water.
Exactly.
And then we can talk about Lake Champlain. It just opens up so much more dialogue. But
so what's your favorite thing to do around here? Like when people ask you, because I
get that a lot.
If you get, I'm assuming the two seasons pretty much are summer and winter. Mm-hmm. I mean, you obviously, fall's my favorite season up here.
Fall's the biggest for visitors. From like
Is it?
When we get the most, when we do the most business and things, it's leaf peepers.
Is it?
Fall foliage.
So if you tell people, I'm kind of saying summer, winter, because I find that breaks up the seasons pretty well, but like
the drastic.
spring, the drastic ones. So what's your favorite thing to do in the summers, and then what's your favorite things to do in the winter?
I'm a huge paddler. I love to kayak. So anytime I can get out on the water, I think I should have been born with gills, but I wasn't. Fail. But yeah, anytime I can kayak, any of our rivers, particularly, a little scared of going out in the middle of Lake Champlain on my kayak, but the Saranac River, Ausable River, I love doing that.
The one down on Ausable Point's beautiful.
Oh, Ausable Point.
I did a stand-up paddleboarding through there, and it's really gorgeous.
Oh yeah, the Adirondack River rentals now.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Yes.
So.
And I went out there, and it's the weirdest spot because you can stand, and you can look out, and like people are standing in water because I don't know, whatever that little, it dips down, it comes back up, and it looks like you're standing on water, and bunch of Jesuses just walking around. Yeah, it's very it's a miracle place. But so paddleboarding.
Yes. So I love kayaking. I like the Ausable River, this spot you're talking about, because as you're paddling along, you're like, oh, it's so pretty, nice little river, and then suddenly you come up to like the massive Lake Champlain ahead of you, and it's like, oh, and wow, we live here.
It's a pretty good paddle too. Like I don't know how long it is, but I would want to say it's well over a mile.
Oh yeah,
and then
take you a little while.
So it's like you can actually enjoy it, but it's like a nice few hours. You can kind of go and relax and decompress.
Oh yeah, so that's in the summer. Anytime I can get out on the water, I'm happy. I do like to hike though too. Like I just like anytime I can.
Outdoors?
Yeah, which is weird because if you would have asked me when I was 8, I would have believed the outdoors were the enemy in life. First of all, they have bugs, and I don't like anything to do with bugs.
Yep.
And I was warm. Ugh, no sweating, please.
Yeah, I'm the same. Humidity.
Yeah, no. But now I love it. Now I'm like, let's go. And so
you like humidity too?
I do.
Oh, God.
I know I'm very weird.
That's my kryptonite.
Yeah.
That and real hot sun.
Yeah. My family tells me that a lot. They're
like, I'm like,
this is weird.
I could be like I'm not that bad, but I got a little pigment to me, but it's rough. Now winter, do you ski, hike, snowboard, like do any kind of things?
So I have to add, in the summer, I also like that all our microbreweries are open, because after you've been out hiking or paddling, if you can go over and meet some friends and have like a drink, that's pretty cool too. So that's probably.
I'm going to ask you about that later.
That's one of my highlights.
I creeped your face or your Instagram a little bit, so
okay.
I'll ask you about that.
I love it. I'm a stalker. This is cool. Winter, you know what? I'm a klutz. I'm just going to throw that out there really quickly. I have tried to ski twice, and both times it's been an epic fail. The first time I came down on a sled with like a torn MCL. That was awesome. And then the second time I just couldn't stop. And that's apparently really important when you're skiing.
It helps.
Yeah, I just ran into people, which they do
it's
not like. It's a good life skill
to have when you're on the slopes.
Yeah, like you run into people and they don't understand. So I've decided skiing is out of my realm of things. I gave it a really good try. I still do some winter hiking.
Okay.
As weird as that is. Again, I like to just meet up with friends and kind of hang out. But hiking's probably my favorite winter thing. I'm also not a snowshoer because apparently you strap things to my feet and I fall over.
It's tougher to get up if you're clumsy and, like I said, a klutz and you have snowshoes or skis.
Yeah.
Good luck getting up.
Yeah, walking's hard.
There you go.
Hey.
Yeah, so people don't know, we're still in the train station, but now you can actually hear the train much louder than before. Just a little background music.
Do you know what's interesting about that train?
No.
Total tourism fact here.
This is what I love. Yeah.
Oh, man. That ride from Plattsburgh down into Albany was named by National Geographic as one of the top 10 rides on Amtrak in the United States.
Wait, from Rouse's Point to
down to Albany? That
just
stretch where
okay.
the Adirondack or whatever was actually named by National Geographic as one of the best rides.
Oh, really? I've never
Most
taken
scenic.
the ride from here to Rensselaer. I've taken the Rensselaer to the city, which I think is still a nice ride along the Hudson.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I prefer to go that way versus drive down the city. I don't do it as often as I should, but it's so convenient.
No one should drive in the city.
No.
It's just, that's rude.
No.
Especially in the fall. I guess the colors when you get down into more of the Adirondacks is supposed to be really great. So those are my favorite things to do in the seasons. But I can name something I like in every season. Spring, maple syrup comes out.
Oh yeah, by far done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If I could just drink maple syrup for a whole season, I'm happy.
I was gonna say, I think people up here just put IVs in and just suck it in.
Oh yeah, and we get really mad when we see like Mrs. Butterworth. We're like, no.
So
get off my table.
So we brought my two kids to the fair the other day. It was Kids Day. We wanted to bring crew to see the dog show.
It was only 150 degrees, so.
That was it. That was all.
Right.
Honestly, yeah.
So you love humidity. That must have been great for you.
It was great. It was a good time. It was a good time. A lot of
Gaelan, you're melting.
A lot of shade seeking. So,
yes.
But we went to the dog show. So we liked that. Saw the animals and just saw a bunch of people. We didn't do the rides. He's too young for the rides. He likes people watching, but
who doesn't?
It's a great place at the fair to do it. But we ended up going to the fried bread dough place, and my wife, who I think has part of her sugar or part of her blood is just sugar.
Yeah, that's fine.
And so
acceptable.
Yes, it was acceptable. So then she gets these like they're fried bread dough nuggets.
Oh.
So they weren't like they're easy. Like you can go with a fork, easier to eat, less sticky. So she goes and she's throwing a confectionery sugar on, and I go, "Here, want me to go get a thing for maple syrup?" She goes, "No." I said, "You're not going to have it with maple syrup?" She goes, "It's fake."
Yep.
And I go, "I know it's fake. It's not my first choice, but I'm like, you're having fried bread dough. You should have at least something." And she was like, "No." And she was like, "I got mad." She's like, "No, it's fake. I'm not having it." And I'm like, "Okay, well, you can just have the confectionery sugar." So that my wife is diehard, where she's the one that will sneak in her syrup to the stores.
Oh my
in
God,
restaurants.
I love her already.
Yeah, so she'll get like the little one, and she'll pour the big thing in, and she'll bring it in like her hoodie or whatever. She used to do that back. She played soccer at Plattsburgh State. She would go to away games, and she would bring she'd bring maple syrup with her. So when they went to team breakfasts in the morning before the game, she would get pancakes, and she would bring her own sugar out and her maple syrup. And so she's a nut. But
no, she's smuggling.
She smuggles. Yeah.
She smuggles maple syrup.
She's like a bootlegger for maple syrup.
I love it. That's perfect. Yeah. It's better for you if you think about it. It's from a tree.
It's 100% natural.
Anything from a tree is good.
Acceptable. Yes,
yeah. And now they make sap water.
I've had that. I got that from Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad. It's very watered down because obviously it's sap water. But it's maple syrup. I mean, maple ice cream. Maple syrup just on snow.
Oh. Maple syrup on a spoon is pretty good. In a
bowl
syrup,
just drinking out of the...
Yeah, I have nothing wrong with maple syrup.
Yeah, we don't need the middleman. I'm just going to sip it right out of the jug.
Exactly.
Super trooper, that thing. But
yeah, so I think like that's one of our... And if I have to go to every sugar house and try pancakes and maple syrup in the spring, I will do it.
It's work related.
Right. I just
it's research, market research right there.
I can't ignore that.
What's your favorite maple syrup places to go to? Besides all, so number one's all, but once you say all,
all. But I think what's really neat is, especially here on the Adirondack Coast, I think every single one of them have their own story, which I find really fascinating. Yep. So even though to me, don't have quite the sophisticated palate to discern a difference between the syrups, which I know they do because some of them boil wood pellet.
I'm a light amber guy.
Oh, are you? Mm-hmm. I'm a maple syrup person. Like,
that's good.
All of it.
grade A from light to dark.
Yeah, why not? I'll give it a whirl.
The black and tan, right?
Exactly.
Amber and tan, I should say.
Yes. Oh, now we're onto something here.
You make it happen.
Idea. So I like but I love Parker's, obviously.
Yep.
Because just what they're doing in general is
It's
phenomenal.
huge.
And
big production.
yeah, and they're number 3 in the state or something last I knew. So and they are like one of the only wood pellet boilers, and so they have a lot happening, and I just think that's really neat. And they help other producers out with boiling and things like that. So to me, that whole family-run organization is great. But then I love like Bayshard's.
They have a nice setup there.
And she makes some of the best maple candy because I need to try more sugar. It's like
she has a good little shop in there when you first walk in.
So cute. And it's a really neat place to go and see the actual boiling take place because it's very easy to see their boiler and stuff. So, and they all have their own little story. And so I kind of like to tour them all and get to know that. It's the same thing with like our wineries, to be honest. Each of them are farm wineries who do their own little thing and their own specialties. So, I don't know. I find them each really interesting and fascinating to just learn. Thing. Yeah.
My favorite, if you had to go syrup and wine, at least from a local standpoint, I just stay right on Stratton Hill because I go to Sanger, which is, they only do it once a year. But for me, that was a nostalgic thing growing up, was the Sanger's Sugar House. So we went there this year with my kids and, of course, crew. If you can get syrup and pancakes in, he's a year and a half, but he knows what's good. So he did that, and then I just know the Vescos very well, so I've been to their event. I like their setup the best. I don't drink enough, to be honest, I don't drink enough local wines because sometimes some of the wines, like I don't like the berry wines and the fruit wines. So I'm not really sure where they stack up amongst all the other vineyards around here, but I love wine. But the Stratton, those are the two, just because I'm a Shazy guy. So
that would make
they're local people.
Sense.
So
and Nancy's just a hoot. Like
she's
let's be
great.
honest, I love her personality.
She's like you. She'll brighten you up. So she actually worked at our school for the longest time.
Yes.
So and she was like the heartbeat of that school. Like you would just see her and she'd brighten your day up, and she was so active. And I always find that some of the best teachers at school were the ones that did not have kids, because my librarian, my old librarian, doesn't have kids, and he's a very good family friend. And he said, I have whatever. Shazy's a small school, but I have like 200 kids, and it's so true, because they're there when teachers are booking out at 3:30. They're there till 6:30, 7 at all the functions. So it's almost like their parents. A lot of kids that don't have parents, and Nancy's one of those. So Nancy was just phenomenal. But they've got a good place going. I remember I used to help a long time ago when they first started, like put labels on bottles. I'd help them kind of when they first started, just because they'd give me a bottle of wine and I would sip on it while I helped, and it was good. Again, market research, quality testing, we did it all. But so I want to ask you, because again, I was stalking you a little bit.
Go ahead.
And I just got back from Portland, Maine, which I'll talk about my story there. But there was a lot of breweries there. So you were a brewery girl.
I am.
So what is your? Obviously, we've had a lot pop up in the last probably 5 to 10 years in our area, like in some very good ones. And the one thing I like about, I don't know a lot about beer. I like going to a brewery with friends and drinking beer, and that's about my knowledge of beer. Is that if it tastes good, I'll drink it. I don't really care what it is. But I think a lot of the breweries around here, they've gotten to be like little local kind of hangout spots, and it's fun because I don't remember growing up. Granted, I was young and I wasn't going to breweries, but I don't remember there being.
I was not going to breweries.
Yeah. But I don't remember being as many cool hangouts as there are now. And maybe I was wrong. I don't know. Maybe they're older than I think they are, but some of them I think are pretty new.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely say most of our breweries have, within the last 6 or 7 years, have really developed. And New York State in general, I think we have the most breweries per capita out of most states except for Vermont. So we're right there holding our own on the Brewery Tour. I think I like breweries for exactly the reason you just talked about them. It's a fun place to go. Obviously, I'm very shy, so I don't like a place that I can just go and hang out with my friends.
So a drink will loosen you up a little.
Yeah, right. It really puts me in my comfort zone. But I like it because you could just kind of go be yourself, and it's not pretentious, and you don't have to stay for a whole meal, and it's just a great place to kind of have a really quick catch-up and grab a drink, and it's social.
Well, I think up here, like our summers are incredible. Like I don't want to be anywhere else during the summer. Like give me the Northeast in the summer, and I love it.
Yeah.
And if I can be, like I said, hanging out on a, like on a Saturday or even like a weeknight, but mostly like if you can go, honestly, who doesn't love day drinking? If you can go with some friends and just kind of rolled into a couple stops throughout the day. It's a fun day.
Then a lot of them have like cornhole that you can play,
Yeah.
or they've got like a trivia night you can go to and hang out.
Jenga.
At.
Everybody's got Jenga.
Jenga. Battleship is a really good one.
Battle shots.
Oh, now we're on to something.
Yeah, but
I gotta do that. So I like that, and I like that all of ours have, again, like each of the brewers we have a story.
Mm-hmm.
Each beer is named after something that means something to them. If you look at Valcour, it's very history related because of their being in the old stone barracks. And then Oval's incredibly awesome. Jesse's just kind of a brew master, and he does great things. And then the building they're in with the
the
old firehouse is awesome. And it's just PB Code. They were really kind of the pioneers of the whole thing here. And Jason is fantastic. And we've worked on a project with him one time for the War of 1812, like the bicentennial a couple of years ago, and he came up with Plucky Rooster to kind of commemorate
I was going to say, I remember there was a
that.
bunch that came out right around then.
Yeah, and then, of course, Matt and Jessica at Living Goods.
Yep.
It's pairing really great food with really great beer and kind of showing what everything has to offer. So I think I just like that whole vibe. I will tell you, I am not a trendy IPA person. I do not like IPAs. I'm sorry to everyone who's listening because I know.
Full confession.
All of a sudden, everyone just shut it off. They're like, oh, this girl. But yeah.
She's not credible anymore.
Yeah. Everyone, I want to say IPAs are like the coffee drinks of the world, but I'd get really in trouble for that.
Yeah,
it's like the pumpkin spice lattes of the world. And so.
The basics.
Yes! I didn't want to say that because.
You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, there's lots of people who I know who drink them, but they're just not my jam. I'm either like, let's go for the stout, because I like that, or something very like wheat and Belgian and German Hefeweizen style. So I run the gamut, but none of those IPAs.
The one thing I like about, like you said, the Valcour is beautiful. They took the old building.
Yeah.
I liked history. I wasn't like a huge history buff, but I did appreciate it. But the fact that we have like that, I mean, one of it obviously is the building we're in, but if you go to Valcour, the stone barracks, I mean, these little, or the old firehouse, you take these old buildings that have honestly had nothing going on in them for years, and you revamp them to the point where you can take the historic kind of cultural aspect of the building and the history within the area, and you're able to kind of pair it with, you know, a very 2019 kind of, you know, I want to say it's gotten bigger recently. It's not a fad. I mean, obviously, drinking beer's been around forever, but it's just a fun. We have like some cool hangouts, and I love that the local aspect of it, because that's one thing. If I can have like a local drink. So we went this past weekend to Portland. That's why I don't know if anybody can hear it, but my voice is a little hoarser than normal.
He was performing.
Yes, I actually we went to a concert, and there was a bunch of breweries, which was phenomenal. And Portland's got a lot of breweries.
They have a big scene.
Yeah, and everywhere we went, I mean, it was kind of the same thing. If you go to Vermont, like you have just coolers of just all these different beers. And there were some good ones. I did drink the IPAs. I'm not Mr. like I'm not the guy that just goes to an IPA.
Do you drink pumpkin spice lattes?
I don't. No, I'm just straight up black coffee guy.
Oh, you gained some credit with that, so you're good.
Yeah. So but I will drink kind of anything. So Friday we got after a little too hard on some domestic light beer. So so that was just kind of the one that kind of set the tone for the next day. I couldn't really stomach an IPA, so I think I ended up going actually with like a sour.
Oh,
which is different. Like, but it's a little lighter, and it kind of allowed me to drink it down without, you know, the heaviness of all the hops and stuff. But they had some really good ones, and I'm sure you would have loved the tour of. I bet. So, but you travel around the breweries, right? Mm-hmm. Or when you travel, you try to stop at as many breweries as you can.
When I travel, I love to be a tourist myself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the first thing I do, like anyone else, is I open Yelp up on my phone, and I'm like, what are people talking about? And what should I do here? And usually I try to find a brewery and see what their local flavors are, or find a restaurant that serves local flavors. I'm definitely a food person, and I like that whole scene.
Are you a food and drink person when you pair them, or does it not matter? If
I can go somewhere and it says you should drink this with this food, I'm going to order them both. Yeah. And I'm going to try it.
Take like the local recommendation?
Yes, totally will do that. And that's usually how we travel.
The hardest part for me with beer is I have a hard time drinking it with food. I will drink it up till I eat. I will drink it after I eat. But when I'm eating, it has to be, usually I just drink water. Yep. I don't know what it is, but I just don't like food and the beer pairing. It's too heavy for me.
I always have to have a water with me, and it's stupid. I always call it, I need a guzzler. I need something like if I'm choking, I can just guzzle down.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good call. Safety first. Yeah. Safety first.
So here's my beer and my water, depending on my mood.
No, so when I go, or when I travel, is that for you? You go on. You said Yelp. Is that the number one thing?
I'm a Yelp user. I'm TripAdvisor. Yelp for food, TripAdvisor for lodging. Depends on my mood.
Now, when you go, this is another thing for you too, because when you travel, do you already have an itinerary, or just kind of go with the flow?
So this is really odd. If you know me, I am a super planner. I am like, today I will wake up at 6:30. I will get up and have coffee by this time. My day is, I'm a list maker and everything. The minute I go on vacation, I suddenly forget how to do everything. I'm like, oh, I woke up. It's 8. I guess I'll go eat breakfast. Where should I go? And it's like roll of the dice and put it in the app. And I shut off the planner.
I'm the same as you. And I love it because I'm so structured day to day.
Yeah.
That I'm literally I tell people that if I'm opening my phone, there's probably an 80% chance I'm checking my calendar, even though I just checked it a minute ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it is, but when I go and I can just go with the flow, that was this whole weekend. I knew when the show was on Sunday or Saturday.
Yep, that was it.
And that was about all. I didn't really know where we were staying. I already Venmo'd them some cash. I knew, I had that situated.
Yeah.
I didn't know where I was sleeping when I got into the house. I was just, okay, I'm in the car at this time. We're leaving. I didn't know the concert's at that time.
Yeah.
And I had a blast.
Yeah.
And that's about as much planning as I want. And now sometimes it could be too lax if you have too many people, but I was with a good group of people that kind of all just flowed with each other.
Yeah. Yep.
And it wasn't like people were too, everybody was on the same mindset. We're like on kind of mini vacation, and we're basically here to booze and listen to music, and we're going to do all of that in that order. And it was a great time.
We do that like every year. We go to Florida, and every year it's like, okay, we know when our flight is and we know where we're staying.
Okay.
After that, what do you feel like doing today? Sitting by the pool? Cool. That's what we're going to do today. It's never it's very funny. So.
I think that's what it should be. So if there's too much plan, then it becomes too stressful and it becomes too much like work, and then you get back and you're more tired.
Yeah.
Like when I go on vacation, I want it to be I want it to recharge me. I don't want to come back and be more tired than when I went. Oh yeah. That might change now that I have kids, that I might end up just falling victim to that for a few years at least.
Yeah, probably. At least knowing that there are things for them to keep them occupied too.
As long as we have everything. We haven't really taken a huge family trip yet because they're still little, but I'm sure that will happen.
It'll be the Disney World trip.
Have you been to Disney?
No, oddly enough, I've never been to Disney.
Do you have any interest in going to Disney?
No, I do not. Actually, I would love to go to Disney for the mere fact of what I do and how I'm in awe of what Walt Disney was able to do and how he orchestrated everything there and understood like people's psyches and developing. Like if you read a lot about what he's done, I think it's super fascinating. To go and just stand in line and sweat and stand in line and no.
So
I'd rather hike.
I'm the same as you. I've never been, don't care if I ever go.
Yeah.
But my wife went as a kid and she's like, we're going. And I'm like, well, my only thing is if we're going, the kids are they're going to be old enough to know about it, meaning they're going to remember it. I don't want to take them at 5. That's my thing. If I take them, I don't have really good memories of early vacation. So I said, if I go to a big trip like that, I want to take my kids to Ireland again. I want to go to Hawaii. Those are shout out to Seth. Seth Adams, who's living it up.
We hate him right now, but good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
Good for
we
him.
Still kind of like him.
I know we do.
But those are a couple of the things I really want to go do, just because I think those are things I've always wanted to do. If I could do them, but I want the kids to be old enough where they can actually remember going to Hawaii or going wherever, and it takes me time to save up to go to each of those places.
Those are big places.
Yeah,
we need a savings account.
Yeah. I gotta plan those a little bit in advance. But it's the idea of standing in line in a hot pavement with a bunch of other people, and I've heard it's the happiest place on earth, but there's also not a lot of happy people when you.
Yeah, how can you be happy?
Yeah, you get stressed out. It's hot. People are freaking out because they're waiting in line. I'm like, I'm just going to go do something else.
No, I mean, I always thought I should be a princess, and I tell people that a lot, but I don't know if I could go meet somebody else who is a princess. I might be jealous.
If you could be any princess at Disney, what would you be?
I don't know. I was always a big Belle from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
I liked her. I also always liked Cinderella, but just because it was Cinderella.
I think Cinderella or was it Snow White? Who was the A1 princess? Like the Disney. It must have been Cinderella.
It gotta be.
Because I think everybody always says Cinderella.
She's got her own castle
Yeah.
thing there, so, that would be... Yeah. No, Snow White, let's be honest. She hung out with dwarfs.
Yeah.
I can't.
I was going to say.
I have a fear of things dressed up. Really weird fear. And clowns.
In being all about 2 feet tall.
Yeah. So that would just freak me out all the time.
I always thought it was those, I don't know, the people dressed up. I guess it's good. The kids like it. I mean, it's just kind of weird. I don't know. I'm sure it's better. I always like basically talk crap about it, but I think if I actually went, I'd have a blast going.
Yeah.
And I think it's one where I'll eat my words when I finally do go, because everybody was gone. Even adults that try to go like every couple of years, like, you have no kids. Why are you going? Like, it's awesome.
They love it.
Really? But
and we would eat our words. We'd be there, and I'm sure I would be the one running around aimlessly as if I was a 3-year-old, splashing in all the fountains and being super excited.
Like a water park or something.
Yeah,
like
I'd be happy.
I think I'm in. I think I could pull off the fun aspect of it. The one thing I found out's really cool. I haven't gone to see. I saw the Beauty and the Beast, but when they're bringing back the live people, and they just did Aladdin, I think, or are doing Aladdin.
They did Aladdin. That just came out, and Lion King just came out this past weekend or something.
Is it? I want to go see. I'd like to see actually all 3 of them, because I think Will Smith's in one of them.
Aladdin, he's the genie,
which is awesome because I love Will Smith.
I know.
But I think it'd be like Beauty and the Beast. I thought was very well done,
very good.
And I thought it was one that kind of kept I knew the storyline, but like it kept my interest. And Aladdin, I haven't seen since I was a little kid, and Lion King, I just went to see it on Broadway 2 years ago, I think, which was my first time on Broadway, which was fun. It wasn't my favorite one on Broadway, like if I was to go see a show, just because like Lion King's Lion King. It's a good storyline, but I went to see the Book of Mormons, which will blow your mind.
I've never seen that, but I think I would love everything about that.
It is. Do you know anything about that show?
Yes, I do.
It is incredibly raunchy.
Yes.
And I was not expecting it, and then I felt uncomfortable. I was with a bunch of friends, which is great. But like, I would look over and see like some grandmas, and I'm like, just make me uncomfortable because they're saying some stuff that, like and they're laughing, and I'm like, God, they still got it. Like, they still got it.
Okay, I like you.
Yeah, like okay, there's still hope when I'm 30 years older, 40 years older. But Book of Mormons was really funny. If you can go see it, it's just extremely over the top.
Don't take your grandmother.
Don't take anybody that that would make you blush.
Oh. Okay.
Like meaning like I say, or like not blush, like but like cringe.
Yeah.
Like cringe. It's
there's a certain set of people you joke around with in certain ways.
Yeah, like there's some people I go with and but oh God. They just drop that word and this person's next to me and it's just very awkward. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I did see Jersey Boys.
I saw that.
And I basically thought I should be a Jersey boy when I left. Like I thought I had all the moves and the singing ability.
Yeah.
Come to find out I don't. No. And I looked crazy walking down the streets of New York, singing all the songs at the top of my lungs about 10 o'clock.
Some people probably really got you confused with Frankie Valli.
Yeah, I'm
sure there's a very similar
obviously,
similar
I look
tone.
like him. So, yeah, I'm about the same height.
That's, so I was going to say, the height is about probably the same.
The height works. But yeah.
Jersey Boys is a good play, though.
But it was so good.
I actually like the storyline of it and the fact they put all the music's incredible. Yeah. I've always liked the Four Seasons. But now, the other thing that I just found out about you is you just started drinking coffee, which blows my mind.
I did. Yeah, well, first...
Did you ever drink it prior, in your life? You never, took a hitus and came back to it?
No.
Are you all in on it now?
I am pretty much all in, yeah. It's pretty bad. Well, if you know me, I'm pretty much run high all the time. So I thought putting caffeine and coffee in me was probably...
It's like lighter fluid on a big bonfire.
Yeah. Hey, here we go, And then I might lose all my friends. At the same time, they'd be like, oh, we can't hang out with her anymore. She's running off, jumping off the walls and stuff. But then I realized I drank coffee and I really liked it. And it does nothing to me. I still run high and I don't. Yeah, it's very weird.
I was the same. Well, one, if anybody's ever gone to the chamber, there's a lot of coffee there.
There's a lot of coffee.
Because you guys have pots ready to go.
All the time.
And that was one of my favorite things. I'd be like, I'm going to grab coffee. I'm like, no, I'm not going to grab coffee because I know they have 3 pots already made. And so.
Oh, yes.
I'm kind of the same. I think it gives me a little, now, again, being in the parenting group.
You don't sleep.
I don't sleep.
Right, that's a problem.
So coffee now has a little bit more effect for that reason. But really, I drink coffee just because I like the taste. Yeah. And I grew up more a tea drinker with my mom.
I was a tea drinker. That's what I always...
Yeah, and sipping on something hot for me was always... It was like a comfort. It was like a blanket. Like if I could sit there and sip on something, it kind of kept my mind... Yeah. Gave my mind something to look forward to, and I've always had in college, I always had tea or coffee with me.
Right.
You name it. I have something. I'm always drinking something, as I have 3 different drinks on my table right now. So it's either coffee or I drink just lime, or not lime. Yeah, lime's my big thing, but club soda. So those are my 2 things I drink all day long.
Well, it's funny. Since I was 15, when AOL Messenger was like the big thing.
Dial up. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
You had to wait for that noise. My username was always Seltzer Bean 21.
Which is still your
Which still
tag.
is.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that, yes.
Well, because it's a few reasons. One, seltzer water is my favorite thing to drink.
Beautiful. Any flavor or no?
I don't mind. I don't like when they try to get them like too syrupy sweet.
Like not black cherry.
I don't like black cherry. I love lemon lime. I'm a big raspberry lime is probably my favorite.
Orange
I like. Yep. Just plain. It doesn't even need a flavor.
I got a bunch in the fridge.
Oh no, I'm good.
I actually have 4 2-liters of club soda because I was this past weekend. We may or may not have bought some liquor, and I may have had that for some mixed drinks, and we were very optimistic. We didn't open any of them.
Oh.
We drink a lot of other stuff.
Right. Well,
which is why I got a bottle of Grey Goose over here, and yeah.
Memories. So Seltzer Bean, and then when I was in college, my radio show that I had, because I was in radio, was Cool Beans. I don't know why. I was a geek. I'm the first one to tell you I was the biggest dork you would have ever met.
You're kind of a dork, but that's all right.
I am a dork. I'm a super dork.
That's good.
I own it. I know I'm a dork. And then 21's my birthday is 7/21, so it's 21. So it was Seltzer Bean.
Yes, right. Happy yesterday. Yeah.
Yesterday.
I wish you on Facebook. So
yeah,
you're good.
It's Facebook official. Yeah. We're fine. So Seltzer Bean 21, and I use it for anything. So anybody wants to break into my life, you just have to know that I like seltzer water. My college radio show was Cool Beans, and my birthday's on the 21st.
Easy enough.
That's it.
So
it's the weirdest name.
So really just seltzer because you like seltzer?
I like seltzer water.
And you just put it together?
Yeah.
That's not a nickname. Nobody called you seltzer.
No one has ever called me seltzer.
Like Seltzer Bean could be like a total nickname.
No one is. I made it.
I always wondered that because I'm like, out of all the stuff she does, Seltzer Bean makes no sense. Now it does. Makes perfect sense. But, no.
And people pick on me all the time for it. They're like, what? I'm like, well, it is what it is. And now I'm just committed.
Yeah. You can't change it. I mean, the fact that I knew your handle was Seltzer Bean.
I know. That's pretty good.
And,
because it's weird.
And if you were to tell me who's Seltzer Bean, I'd be like, it's Kristy. Don't ask me why, but she's Seltzer Bean. But,
she's odd.
The coffee thing, I had a very in-depth conversation this morning with some guys at breakfast, and we talked about cold brews. I haven't
ventured in the cold brew world.
Oh well, today's kind of chilly out. Mm-hmm. It's an odd day. It's very.
Well, that's because it was 150 degrees.
I know it's like 75, and I got a sweatshirt on because I'm like, God, I did
walk in and notice you had a sweatshirt on. I'm like, this is a bit much.
The AC. Well, I just went to lunch and we sat outside.
Oh, okay.
And it was like I was comfortable.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't cold at all, or I wasn't warm at all. So. We talked about cold brew. We've talked about getting a cold brew dispenser and calling it a cold brew club. Basically, is we just pool some money. It's like, give us $10 a month. We'll have cold brew on tap. You basically can come fill up whatever cup you want as many times a day, as many times in a month that you want. Just pay us like a $10 fee just to cover the cold brew.
Of the cold brew.
So if we just all pool together, I got a couple buddies that were looking into doing this, and we're just going to mass buy in bulk a bunch of pre-made cold brew coffee and then just have a dispenser.
So I don't get it. Is it just brewed when it's cold?
No.
That's
don't
iced coffee. Literal?
That's iced coffee.
Don't be literal.
So iced coffee is brewed coffee that they just have
pour over
ice, and the ice just cools it off and it's cold. And the one thing is, like, right now when it's hot out, it's hard to drink hot coffee.
Yeah.
Some people are diehard. They'll drink hot coffee every day.
You're drinking hot coffee.
I am right now because I'm a little cold, which is, I know it's odd. You have no sleeves on, and I'm bundled up. I think it's at the room's 64, so it's a good little chill, but
it's that pale skin of yours.
That is. I gotta hide from the sun right now. But the iced coffee idea is that it's refreshing, and I can drink it like basically water.
Yeah.
But the cold brew, what they do is they steep the beans typically for 24 hours.
Wow.
And they just let it sit and sit and sit, and then finally, like, you can make homemade. Do you have a French press at home?
I'm still new, Gaelan.
Okay. I've
got a coffee pot. I'm pretty excited about that.
Okay, so we're basic, very low, but that's okay.
Oh,
we'll get you in.
I am the pumpkin spice latte of coffee right now.
Okay, so
I'll get there.
So when you get in the cold brew, you can take a French press, which is just a fancier way.
Okay. Food Network's my favorite thing to watch.
Okay, perfect. So you put the grinds into the French press. You put water in, and all you do is you stick it in the fridge, and you let it sit in there for anywhere from 12 to 24 hours, and then you pull it out. You press it down and you pour, and that is cold brew.
Ah.
And all it is just the beans have sat in a cold state for a long time. And what it does basically is get rid of a lot of the acidity in the beans, and it gets I forgot the exact term. That it's more caffeinated.
So that's what I need.
Yes,
I need more caffeine.
You actually need cold brew in your life for sure. And but if you have it, and it's phenomenal. So it hits you harder. You can get really fancy, like a pour over can make your head spin.
Yeah, no,
there's different ways you can really tackle it. An espresso machine.
I think all my family would appreciate me not getting into this.
Because it's I wanted at some point in time in this office space, I'm going to have just a coffee bar.
Okay.
And it's going to be a full on, be espresso. There'll be a cold brew dispenser. I will have a lot of very cool things. I will have the pour overs, all of everything. So
there'll be a line out the door.
Weight and measure. The cold brew club though, this is a serious thing. We're really getting into that. I think we're going to pull it off. But it might only be like. It might be like a memorial to like Labor Day season.
Yeah.
And then I think we'll just go our separate ways because everybody's got a coffee machine, but nobody's got a cold brew. So once I have it literally, I'll give people the code to get in. You can come in, grab it anytime you want, Monday through Sunday. You can come do it up.
There you go.
And basically if you take the last bit, just fill it, put the new bag in. Yeah. So it'll be fun.
Who knew?
The other thing I want to ask you about, because I see you doing this all the time, even though you weren't a person that you just said you didn't like sweating, but you like to work out a lot.
Yes, I do.
And I see you, like, where do you go to work out? Because I've seen, which I think ties into kind of maybe your outdoor background. You do a lot of stuff outside.
I do a lot outside.
Which is cool.
Yes. I was not always a workout person. The whole weird story is I'm actually 150 pounds lighter than I was 15 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So thank you. But
that's awesome.
So I had okay, everyone tells you this workout thing is good for you.
I was going to say, millions of people can't be wrong. But
yeah, so fine. So I actually ended up deciding, fine, I'll try this exercise thing. And I joined Eclipse Gym and started taking all their classes there. And then one of the instructors there turned into being a great friend of mine. And she started saying, well, you can kind of go outside the gym too. And, on nice days, because I am an outdoors person and I like being out there, she's like, go find a set of stairs and do stuff like this. So she would so often give me little workouts to go outside and just kind of help guide me. She's like my guru of exercise and well-being. And so now, 5 years later, anytime I see a set of stairs, I remember it's there and I go. And when I'm stressed or whatever I want to do.
Make a mental note.
Yeah, I throw on my sneakers and I go find it. But anything outside, the high school has a great little track that I like to run and stairs there. And Fox Hill's great for running hills and
I've done that before too.
Yeah. So I just think it's kind of a way to clear your head too. A lot of times I go after work. So I get the stress of my day at work. Then I'm stress-free for like that hour, and then I go home and I'm a whole new person and I've left behind the day and I can actually be really present at home but then feel really good about myself. And
so what's your favorite? I mean, obviously working out for me, like the working out aspect of it obviously brings good like physical transformations and stuff. But like for me, it's a mental, like it's either, I want to like either it could be a stress reliever. For me, it's just a way to kind of get the blood flowing and just kind of get my head in a better space. Because if I like work out and I think just sweating a little bit and kind of waking me up in the morning, because I go early in the morning, that just puts me on a better path for the day. Because my other thing now is once I'll go work out, I'll get here at 7 a.m., back to the office for 7. And the rest of my day, I have it planned, but I'm so far behind, like just even today, because I had a couple things that got thrown in this morning that I wasn't planning for, that took up an hour to an hour and a half of my morning. And so that's my thing. I just don't have I can't guarantee that I'm going to ever go to the gym. I bet you if I tried to go to the gym in the evenings during the week, I would go once or twice a week max. And that's like twice would be tough to go. So I more get it done beginning of the day because I know I can control it and then let the free for all begin. But for you,
it happens.
But for you, like I said, the biggest thing is if you have a set schedule. So mine's like 5:30 a.m. where if yours is 5:30 p.m.
Yep.
As long as you can go in, get it in.
And it's in my calendar. Like in my calendar, I block out, this is my workout time, and it doesn't matter what happens. And, by nature of what I do, there are meetings at night, and then I just mentally tell myself, you're going to go in the morning. And then I set my alarm early, and I go get it done because I feel 100% better when I do work out. And I think it's so much more than just like, yes, I love when I can shut my mind off from work. And when you're exercising or working out and you're by yourself and you're just in your own head, you definitely clear away a lot of stress. And like I said, it makes me a lot more present when I get home, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm ready to be back here. But also, because I did join a gym and I do take a lot of classes, I found some great friends that are
the
different.
community aspect.
Yeah, and they're super like-minded. So when I don't show up on Tuesday at 5:30, they're
Texting.
like, where were you? And then the guilt sets in, and I'm like, fine, I'll be there tomorrow. Yeah. And it keeps you going.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really
I think that's the most important fact about working out.
Yeah.
Like, because did you play team sports at all when you were a kid?
No.
So when
I can't walk very well, so we do not put like
chess.
a ball in my... I was really good on the debate team and public speaking. After that, it was like, Kristy, you should sit down. Even in gym class, my teacher used to tell me, you want to go walk on the treadmill? I'd be like, yes, I do.
Yeah, there you go. It's,
yes, thank you.
Yeah, I was going to say, there'll be no casualties that day. It's safer. Just walk straight.
Yeah.
And hold on to something while you're walking.
Usually. And stay away from people.
Yeah. So when I used to play team sports, like obviously you want to just skip practice. So that's the same thing I look at. Same thing with the gym, like 5:30 a.m. I know there's going to be like 10 other people there that go every morning with me. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to make sure that, and there's some days like I didn't go this morning just because it was kind of a wild weekend and I would have only gotten like 5 hours of sleep last night. Yeah. And I'm like, I need at least probably 7 today. So I slept in an extra hour and a half, but I've been getting better at it. I got away from it just with life and not prioritizing it and not being like really forcing myself.
Oh, so easy to do. It's the easiest thing to take off your schedule.
Yeah, I would agree 100%.
It's so easy. But there is something about when you start seeing things change or you're accomplishing more or you're lifting more or whatever that it kind of keeps you striving for it. And,
100%.
And I even think the discipline of working out and exercise and a routine translates into your job and things like that. Like if you feel really good, it's going to be seen elsewhere. And
well, you have more confidence. So like for me, when I eat better and I sleep better when I work out.
Yeah.
And then I feel better during the day, so I have more energy. Then I feel more peppy. And then, there's times that I don't go to the gym and I'm kind of like, I'm not like a down, mopey person, but there's days I might not have as much, like a little pep in my step.
Yeah. Or it's in the back of your head, like, I didn't go. I should have gone.
Yeah.
And like it eats at you.
Yeah.
My friends actually pick on me because I've gotten to the point now, well, they pick on me for a lot of things, but I like to be that person. I like to give them an outlet to pick on.
Yeah, that's good.
But in the back of my car, because I do find I'm like, oh, there's a parking lot there and it's got a hill. We should definitely go work out. And they're like, okay. And usually it's got poison ivy or something I'm making them go into, but that's fine. They don't mind. Trust me, I keep Caladril in there too. But in the back of my car now, I have a box and it has like tennis rackets in it and jump ropes and the kettlebell, which is usually all over my Instagram because that's my favorite thing, and like dumbbells. And so I'll like, take the stuff out, get the jump ropes, and it's just kind of become who I am.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't lift the box by itself. You got to take each piece out to get it out. But
steps, you'll get there. And when I first started working out, I did it. I've never really joined a gym until my current gym. So like I went up until probably the age of 22, never having gone to a gym. Like I didn't work out in high school or anything. So I started working out in my parents' basement, which I could pretty much go I could stand and do one of these things. So it was only like 6 feet tall. So it was limited in stuff I could do. So a lot of things I did go outside, but I find working out outside, I don't do it as much as I should, but when I do it, it's like, I'm glad I was outside because it changes up the scenery and it keeps things a little less boring. But I've done some just cool different workouts here and there, and you just, you kind of pick it up and you can do a lot. There's more than you think you can do. I mean, it's about moving, but you can do pull-ups or push-ups or jumps or
well, you might be
stairs.
able to do a pull-up. I just hang.
I'm like,
hey,
that's
I'm here, guys.
I was gonna say dead hangs those are tough too.
That's about all I got.
If nobody's ever tried just hanging from a bar it's like if you can hit a minute hanging from the bar, you're doing extremely well.
Yeah.
Because I have a decent. That's a minute for me is like I can drop at a minute. I'm like, okay, I almost slipped there a couple times, or you're kind of like you're playing little mind games in your head to kind of like it's like kind of doing planks and stuff, and you're like keep looking at the clock, and you're like, well, maybe if I just think about what I'm going to eat tonight, that'll waste 10 seconds, and then
maybe if I sing along to the song, I won't notice what's going on.
It's like the worst, like a minute, and you look up and you're like 35 seconds left. You're like, what?
Did the clock go backwards? I'm pretty sure this minute's
This is counting down, right?
Yeah.
It's counting up, down. Okay, we're almost there.
My friends made me do a Spartan.
I've never done those.
Last year or a year ago. I can't say I was like everyone should do one because I'm super proud of myself for accomplishing it.
Did you? Yeah, you finished.
I finished.
So you clumsy finished.
Oh, I did.
That's
yeah.
good. Okay.
I so did. It was actually really funny because I don't have, like I said, this whole like working out thing is new to me. it's been about like 5 years. And so we're going, and the girls I'm with we're all cheering each other on, but there is definitely a weakest link, and I will point to myself. And so to get to even the start line of a Spartan, they literally put like a little 3.5-foot wall that you have to go over to get to the start line. And I think it's to get your jitters out of you. So, because you are jittery, you're going to go to this whole unknown thing. And thank God it was in a stadium. It was in Fenway.
Oh.
So it wasn't like mud
awesome.
and electricity and things like that scare me, that I could drown in. So everyone I'm with, there's like 8 or 9 of us, they all get over the 3.5-foot wall. I go running to it to like pop up over it. Shouldn't have been a problem. Took me 5 tries to get, no jitters got out of me. It just made it worse when I got to the starting line. And they're all like, yeah. And I'm like, still back here. Still, yeah.
That's when you like look over your shoulder and everybody's backed up. And you're like, oh,
yes.
Sorry.
I seriously contemplated, do I keep going or do I stop? Do I just turn around, go home, and like, this was great.
Just like step off the side and like, sorry, my shoe's untied. Let me tie it up. I'll try it again.
I don't know what happened, like book off. But, I got through it. I only came out with like 2 gashes and 1 bruise. So I thought that was a really good record. But at the end, I'm not a rope climber either, because that to me, that just reminds me of every horrible high school gym experience I ever had. And so I was standing there and I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen. I did the 25 burpees and said, let's move on to the next one.
Oh, is that the penalty if you don't do the, okay.
If you don't do one of them, they make you do like 25 burpees. And I gladly did the 25 burpees and even attempt to get up there. But
how many times do you have to climb it?
Just 1.
You go up and down?
Yeah. Yeah. But again, I would have just hung there.
Yeah.
And I did that at first. I just like kind of hung on like, hey, I'm here. And then jumped down and
that's fine.
did my burpees.
So when you lost all your weight, was it just 5 years ago?
No, 15 years ago.
15, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool though. That's good. I had a buddy that he was very heavy at one point and lost a ton of weight. And I mean, looks great now, and like I said, a lot more energy. And
that's the big part. Yeah.
So it's phenomenal.
And you have the confidence to walk into a gym.
Yeah.
Which is different because you get
Well, I think that's the hard, if nobody's ever been in the gym before, and you could be anywhere on the spectrum of fitness level,
of course.
But for people that go in, obviously you're to the point where, you just have a lot of self-doubt that you can do any of it. And that's what I always find. One of the best things, at least from my experience going into a gym, is most people that are in the gym have a very good mindset, and they have probably been in that space before, whether or not, like, you might not have to lose a bunch of weight, but you might be the small, scrawny guy that can't do anything, and all of a sudden these guys are throwing weight around. And you're like, what the heck? But I think people that go to the gyms, it's not as, you get the intimidation factor only lasts, I would say maybe 1 or 2 classes most. I think eventually you kind of meet some people and you're like, this isn't that bad.
No.
And I think it's just getting over that hump, and then it becomes fun. Because, so like I said, it's a good outlet for adults.
It is.
Sure.
It's like an adult playground.
It's
okay to run around. I'm like, this is fantastic. I needed this.
I can sweat. I can look goofy.
I can throw things.
I get, depending on your job, I get to wear gym clothes. Some people can't wear gym clothes. That's My wife does massage therapy, so she's always kind of just in shorts and a t-shirt. And I have another friend, she's on the opposite end. She is a phys ed teacher, so she gets to wear kind of like, leggings or shorts or tank tops pretty much all year long. So she likes dressing up. But some people are on the opposite. Like, I dress up all the time. I want to just be in shorts and a tank top. And
happy to put jeans on today. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. She looks good when she dresses up, but she gets to do it like once a week kind of thing. And other people are the 5 days. I'm like, I'm good.
Definitely.
So, question I have, since this is obviously your big, I guess, I don't want to say claim to fame because you do a lot, but this is like one of your big things.
Oh, I have a claim to fame?
I was going to say, like, people know about you. Well, I was going to say you're the tourism director of tourism, but I mean, you do a lot of stuff, so I don't want to just like tie you into tourism.
You're fine.
But
I am tourism.
What is some fun facts that you can spit out about tourism in the North Country? Because you've said a couple when we were at the North Country Connections that were, I thought, stuff I didn't know about, which is cool.
So, like, my favorite thing to do is tell facts of how awesome the Adirondack Coast is and things you wouldn't know. So, if you take the city beach, it's the 2nd largest freshwater beach in the United States.
Which is crazy.
Crazy. You wouldn't think that, but...
Do you know which one's the biggest?
I don't. It's in California. I don't actually know the name of it. But then Clinton County is also the 2nd largest producer of Macintosh apples in the United States. The only place that beats us is Washington State. So a whole state produces more apples than us as a county. That's kind of incredible.
Wait, Clinton County. So Clinton County is the most apples per county.
Mm-hmm. The only place that beats us is if you put all of Washington State together.
Wow.
So we have a lot of apples.
Yeah.
That's our claim to fame.
How about them apples?
How about them apples?
One of my favorite movies.
Such a good movie. So there's things like that, you know. Here, I'm drawing a blank on his name. The traitor in history.
Benedict Arnold.
Thank you. Benedict Arnold wasn't a traitor here. It wasn't until he left the battle here and got to Saratoga that he became a traitor. He is actually a hero when it comes to Lake Champlain.
Was he? That was the Battle of 1812? Or the War of 1812? The War of 1812?
No, he was the Battle of Valcour.
Really? Mm-hmm. I always thought he was Revolutionary War, but he was War of 1812?
No, Revolutionary. He was Revolutionary War.
Oh, it's different.
So Battle of Plattsburgh was the War of 1812.
Yes.
Which actually has a really cool fact. So
I love hearing it because I love old war stories. I love those in history.
War of 1812 is pretty interesting because the war actually ended on our lake with the Battle of Plattsburgh. The British surrendered and said, no, we're done. But because there wasn't email at the time, it took that long for the message to get to where it needed to go, for the treaty to be signed, that battles were fought after that didn't need to be fought because it was here.
Wow, okay. Saratoga was War of 18, or that was the Revolutionary War.
Yes.
Okay.
So War of 1812 was decided here, but it took so long for the message to go that battles were fought after us. And then the other fun fact I always find is that really it was because the McDonough knew how to sail on Lake Champlain is actually a really horrible lake to
it changes very quickly. Yes.
And he knew that, and the British didn't, so he was able to flip the ship and get fresh cannons.
This was the Saratoga?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he was able to, defeat the British that way, just by knowing the lake. We shouldn't have. We were a little, scrappy militia that, came to be. And I'm sure all the historians who are listening right now are like, Kristy, you've got this semi-correct, but, I'm using the basic terms.
Enough that you have me believing it. But no, I think I remember the turning thing happening.
Yeah, he turned the boat enough that he knew which way to have, and there were fresh cannons on the back that he could shoot. Yes,
I do remember that, and I forgot who told me that. But is there a place? I mean, there is a place around here, I know, but that does the battles and stuff, history of it.
So there's the War of 1812 Museum, which is actually. It's a phenomenal place to go. Mm-hmm. At the beginning they show a video and it tells that whole story, so you actually understand.
I've never been.
It's like a 10-minute little video. Mm-hmm. You can walk through the place. It brings it all to life.
Actually, that made the Dana Moore movie.
It did. You are right.
Yeah,
I never watched all of that. I got through the first episode and I was like,
to be honest, I didn't like it as much as I thought I would.
Yeah.
But that's whatever. It's all right.
Yeah.
They tried.
They did.
It was deep. I mean, it was okay.
I think I didn't want to watch it because we lived it.
Yeah.
I think watching it would have been hard for me in that realm.
The weird part about it was the only part that really talked about the part that we knew of, which was the chase
mm-hmm.
I think 7 of the 8 episodes were building up to the chase. That was the last episode. So, because I think they wanted to give you the part that you didn't know, why it happened versus
the story.
They just chased them around in the woods for a month.
Yeah.
Which is the part I remember sitting there I lived in Morrisonville. I mean, I still do, but at the time, you'd be watching the news and all of a sudden you'd be like, yeah, they got choppers out. And all of a sudden you hear over, you look out the front door, you see the chopper fly over and this is really weird.
We could see the feet. Hanging out of the chopper when they were searching, and then where I live is right where they had all the media stopped before they were going.
Aren't you in Morrisonville too?
Yeah, just before Morrisonville. So I live right in that area, and all the news trucks were right on the road before we turned in. So we had every checkpoint to go through, and all the.
Yeah, I remember the NBC news guy, Miguel Almaguer or whatever,
mm-hmm.
was right at the corner of Rand Hill, and that was just down the road from us. And I'm like,
yeah.
They're like, let's go see. I'm like, I don't really care.
I'm a Today Show junkie, so I did totally drove by a couple times. I was like, I'm now going to stalk you. It's great.
Yeah.
It was.
He's doing the story, and you're waving in the back. Your sign.
That's me, guys. Watch the news. Yeah,
Mom, I'm still good. I'm alive.
I know. I do have a Today Show obsession. I've watched it since I was 15, and every morning if I don't watch it, I get really upset.
Oh, so you're an every morning person.
Every morning.
Okay.
I even have satellite radio purposely so I can listen to it during the day. I have a weird...
Really?
Yeah, because it's on there. So it's kind of crazy.
You must have been.
I've gone, yes.
Have you ever been inside?
I have not.
I've never been either, but I know every once in a while people like can go watch the inside.
They probably don't want to let me in. That's just probably safer for
maybe not.
everybody.
If you go, if you go every day for like a year, I think eventually they'll like, just get her in and get her out of here.
I'm running up and down behind the set. Hi, guys. Yeah. No, you don't
like
need
Hoda
that.
comes out and she's like, honestly, this lady's crazy. Just like one day.
Kristy's here again.
Yeah.
Guys. No, but squirrel moment. So during the escape, what happened is we would get phone calls at work about people wanting to go find the manhole cover, and they still call. People like think it's now one of our attractions, just to go visit it.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll be on their bikes. They're like, "Oh, can we go up?"
What street was it again? Do you remember the intersection?
I don't remember.
Wasn't it Boak or Smith? It's one of the crossroads.
It's Smith or Cook. No, Cook.
I think it's
Cook, because wasn't Cook the guy who?
I think it's the one.
It started on Cook and it ended with Cook. Isn't that?
I think it's the one that has like the box outside the wall. I say the box. It looks like a box kind of thing. I think that's the actual tunnel that comes out. I mean, I think you can go in through that, but it comes out that way and it connects to there. So I think if you just go down that road one block, it's that one.
Yeah, we do get asked for that a lot. I don't give it away. I'm like, And then
there's only like 10 in this. Just keep going. You see them all.
And then we got a call during the whole thing, and it got patched through to me, and it was a reporter in Buffalo. And they're like, this must be debilitating for you. And, well, it was very scary, and there was a lot at risk. And it kind of made you realize what goes on in our correction system. I was like, well, yeah, it's scary, but, we're functioning.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean you're functioning? You don't have any hotels. Where's everybody staying? And I'm like, we have hotels.
Yeah.
They're like, well, aren't there armed guards everywhere? And I'm like, no, not unless you're near the search area.
Yeah.
Well, how do people get there? Is there like a one road in and out? And I'm like, where do you think we are? Have you looked at a map?
Yeah.
87 is very prevalent.
Yeah.
All the major hotels. Oh, well, what about the school? Well, it's out because...
It's summer.
Yeah. I literally think that all they could picture was this like one road little pony carriage ride. Yeah. Everyone with guns is walking down our road. It was
pitchforks. Right? Yeah. We gotta find them.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, no, that's not what this looks like at all. So it was very eye opening.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was. We enjoyed watching it. I talked to. I had Paul. Do you know Paul Dio? Yeah, so I had Paul on the podcast. He's a good buddy, and I was telling him, I said, I'm not a big news guy. Like I don't watch a lot of TV, but that was the one time that I really remember watching WPTZ like nonstop. Yeah, because to be honest, they were the ones breaking the news quicker than anybody. Yeah. And I remember watching even like late into the night. You'd be like 11:30, 12 o'clock. You're like, how do you catch them? Like, all right, well, I guess we're signing off to the morning. Like sleeping like 6 o'clock, you're up watching the news, and then you're watching Today's Show. And I watched, I think, more news that month than anything because everybody was just like, I didn't even catch them. Where are they?
What's going on? I
remember the first time, and like they're in Willsboro, and you're like, oh, how do they get to Willsboro? So why are they going that way? And
don't they have a map?
Well, I remember I was going. Actually, it was they escaped. I think it was a Friday night and the Saturday, and I remember going. I had an early appointment at 8 o'clock up in Morris. And I was at the house. We left the house. All of a sudden, I got to the first intersection, and there was a checkpoint. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And my wife was texting me or calling. Well, we weren't married at the time, but she was like, I had a missed call from her, and then I had a text, and I didn't look at it yet. And I went through the checkpoint, and like, yeah, some guys escaped from the prison. And I'm like, oh, because I remember back when I was a kid that someone escaped, but they escaped from the county jail. Like,
right, yeah.
Which I thought back then I didn't know the difference. And supposedly nobody really escaped from this prison. So that was news to me at the time. And I just remember like she was like, yeah, it's all over the news. And I'm like, oh. And she's like, no, like national news. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So needless to say, that was, I remember where I was when I found out about it, but it was a fun time.
Yeah, it was it's definitely a claim to fame. Like even now I'll go to trade shows and things like that, and I'll be like, oh, I'm from the Adirondack Coast, and they're like, oh, New York, and then I say I'm an hour south of Montreal, and everyone can figure that out, or at the time I was like, you know where the prison break was? They're like, yeah. I'm like, I live there. Yeah. Like if you want direction, that's where I am.
Yeah. So. I actually drove by it last week to go the alley out. But so that's good. I think now. Okay, we went over the Adirondack Coast. Mm-hmm. Fun facts about tourism. Do we have any more fun facts about tourism?
Probably. I'll keep thinking.
Okay, that's fine.
There's a lot of them.
So for you, because I know obviously I think I share this in with a lot of people in our area because I think we have a very good like local pride of the area. What's your vision for Plattsburgh going forward? I mean, you've been here a long time now. You have at this point 11 years invested in telling people how great we are. So what do you think going forward? Like, what is your most? What are you looking forward to most? What do you think is our biggest advantage? You know, kind of all the positives, but anything negative that you think, just kind of like your overall vision of Plattsburgh is. Or I should say the Adirondack Coast. I won't say just Plattsburgh. But.
Yeah, definitely, because it is definitely a county effort. And from a visitor standpoint, they never come to a county. You've never gone on vacation and said, I'm going to that county.
You don't even know what county you're in.
Right. You go to a region, you go to an area and things like that. So, you know, I will never say there's anything negative because I am truly a rosy-colored glasses person, and I refuse to see the negative, and I'll just keep striving to the positive. And that is who I am, and I will always be that way. And it's probably good and bad in some ways. So I think our biggest strength is that we have a community of people who want to see good. You know, I can't tell you how many times somebody comes and talks to me about an idea they have or something they want to work on, and that they've already got people who are rallying behind it and are cheerleaders for it or ready to roll up their sleeves. I think we have a really great community of people who want to do great things and grow it and aren't just waiting for somebody else to do it. So I think that's phenomenal. I also think it's tremendous that we have people who work in the same industries and are friends and want to help each other out and don't just see it as competition. We did a destination master plan back in 2010, and we've updated it a couple times since. And a consultant from Missouri came, and he this is all he does, is he looks at destinations and communities and how can you grow and what are your strengths and where should you focus your energy. And we obviously went into the tourism sector, so we had all the lodging properties sit down. They're all competitors, but they all came together in one room and talked about how they can improve lodging and what they can do and how they can work together. And the meeting adjourned and everyone left, and the guy looked at me, he goes, that's why you will succeed. You will succeed because everybody comes together, even with their competitors, and wants the greater good over just the business themselves. And after he said that to me, I just kind of, I don't know, it was a whole different way to look at the community. And then I started looking at other industries, and it's the same way. You know, everyone just wants the greater good. And if that means, you know, they're losing $1 but helping somebody else out, it's definitely, you know, it's going to happen. So I think that's probably one of our biggest strengths. I think as far as tourism is concerned, I think that community, again, rallies really, really well. I think, you know, the Adirondack Coast in particular has discovered how strong it is in agritourism and not necessarily trying to compete with other counties who may have stronger recreational opportunities. I am not discounting that lake by any means, because Lake Champlain is something only we have on the Adirondack Coast, and it's phenomenal and offers its own. But we've really capitalized on the fact that we are an agricultural community, and we have the maple, like we talked about, and the wineries that are producing wines with cold weather grapes that, there's a fun fact, cold weather grapes that aren't, you know, grown in any other climate. And they worked with the University of Minnesota to develop a grape that could be grown here. And so we have that, and then we have the breweries, and then we have our farms ourselves, the farms like Asgard and Country Dreams Farm, who are working farms that you can go visit and see what it actually is like. I just think anything like that is really promising and exciting. And I think it's kind of a trend you see in the industry itself, you know, wanting to, the farm to table movement, using local ingredients. And I'm excited to see where that goes with the cuisine trails that were just designated by New York State here in Clinton County and Franklin County and Essex County. So I just think there's a lot of positive, there's a lot of growth, and there's a lot of people who want to help out. They want to see the growth happen. Yeah,
I think one of the cool things, and I've noticed this more and more as I've gotten more involved, and I think what happens too is that you start, as you get older, you start aligning with people that have are more positive and have better visions. Like, I mean, are more in tune with kind of like stuff I want to do or have interest in. But you know, you can go anywhere and find people that are negative about a certain area, and we have them. But at the end of the day, it's been a while since I found very negative people.
Yeah.
I tried to pretty much like suffocate them out of my life, you know, and find the positive people. And I find that a lot of people that I talk to, the same as you, they're uber like, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. And one of the reasons, I've talked about it before, but kind of like metaphorically, is I like my office view, because I really think that this is going to be a huge cultural hub of our area. I really think within the next 10 to 20 years that this will be built up and you know, look a lot more, have a lot more kind of, what's it called, oomph to it than it does now. And it's kind of cool that I hope to be in this office for many years, and I can kind of almost see the growth as it happens. So for me, that's one of the reasons I really like this location. But I think Plattsburgh it's always been a good area, but I think we've weathered one of actually the North Country connections, the talk that Gary and, is it Sue?
Sue, yep. Okay,
I always forget her name, Sue. She was a phenomenal lady too. And those two, I mean, they're obviously at the forefront of like the economic development part, but the passion those two have for what they do and the like if anybody knows the ins and outs of what's the future's to hold, it's those two, and the excitement they have for what's going on, to me, gives me even more like, excitement, because I'm like kind of excited, but with blind faith kind of thing, where I think they're more excited with concrete, like we can see the pathway to get there. And that's one of the major things I'm looking forward to, is that this place is going to be a really sweet place to live in the future, because I think we have there's a lot of things that it's almost like a perfect storm. They're coming together, and I think we're going to hit it in the next, like I said, probably couple decades.
I think it's funny. Like I said, this has been 11 years looking at this, and when I first started, it was very Plattsburgh centric. Yeah, everything to do seemed to kind of be on the same Route 3 corridor or downtown in some sense, and that was really, and you had like Rolfs in Peru, but it was very Plattsburgh centric.
They were much smaller. I mean,
right? Yeah, and so then you've seen the food scene in our downtown area, and downtown Plattsburgh has boomed in the last 10 years. I mean, there's still a long way to go, I'm sure, but to say steps haven't been taken would be a lie, because it's tremendous what we have compared to what we did, and the owners are great. But then I've noticed now, and I'd say this would be in the last 5 or 6 years, when we're talking to groups or people coming to the area, it's not just, Plattsburgh anymore. Peru has really blossomed as a place that we can tell people to go, with the Chasm and Ausable Point and, Adirondack River Rentals, and then Rolfs is there, and Babby's Rural Farm and Learning Museum, and the Hayward Park that they have, and the trail system that they have in Peru. It's just like this phenomenal little hub, and so that really has taken off, and it's been a really great place for us. When we have travel writers who come, we've been sending them into that area and not just into Plattsburgh. And then all of a sudden you turn around, and Shazy is now doing the same thing with everything we talked about in Maple, and the wineries, the 2 wineries that are there, and the apple orchards, and Shazy Orchards doing amazing things in that area. And Miners and the Alice T. Miner Museum. Also, like, you're starting to see all these like really amazing branches of hubs where people can go for the day and spend a day, if not more, and do incredible things. So the growth is definitely there. Is it, what it could be? I don't think it'll ever stop growing. So there will always be things to do. But I mean, like you said, just looking out your office window and seeing Dock Street and the City Marina, and the accessibility with some of the launches that have been put in place, and the upgrades that have been made just to it.
Well, they just had the big fishing tournament down here. And
yeah,
it was like,
it's packed.
There was like traffic jams up here just getting to the office.
Exactly. And what's neat about those is, so that's actually something we handle within our office, is planning and bringing in the fishing tournaments. Alyssa that I work with handles that. And some of the improvements, like the launch that was there, was something that FLW helped us find money for. And so it's not...
I just drove by it for the first time the other day.
It's incredible.
And maybe the first time, because I noticed people were actually using it, but it's a very nice launch.
Yeah, it's eco-friendly and things like that, and they even helped put in one of the kayak launches. And this was, I'd say, like 4 or 5 years ago, but they saw a great lake that was worth investing in, so they helped, and now it's something that has brought great quality of life to our visitors and our residents. And so I think there's a lot of growth, and I think it's not only local residents who can see the potential, but it's also our visitors or our events that we bring in that also help invest. And I think I said at the very beginning, you don't hear as much of there's nothing to do here, and that makes me very happy. But there's always going to be that group, and I can completely understand that group. I look at this destination every day as a place to come vacation, which is phenomenal. I mean, no one's ever upset when they're planning a vacation. But then you do understand that there are people here who are making a living and they're paying their bills and they're not thinking of it as a place to vacation. And you can completely understand that as well. So, as long as we have less and we have some people who are understanding now the quality of life that tourism brings and that this destination really does have, and our community is pretty awesome and it is moving towards, a greater good. It's awesome.
Everything you just said, 100%. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is this was actually how I first heard of you, and I forgot what is it Coasting with Kristy?
I call it Coasting with Kristy.
Coasting
yes.
I was trying to think of the name in my head. This was, Aaron said something, I think this is the first time I ever heard of you. He goes, yeah, Kristy Kennedy, right? And I'm like, I don't. And this was probably last year. And he goes, dude, go on, dude, it's amazing. And we were talking about marketing things, and he goes, go look on YouTube. So there's like little 30-second little clips. Like I saw the one you did fairly recently, was at the Bagel Pit, I think. Yeah. And it was just, they're like cool little things, but they highlight everybody. And so Coasting with Kristy. So how did that get started? And how many have you done so far?
Oh, that's a good question. So Coasting with Kristy was, people like to hear a story and they like to kind of know a face and somebody they can go back to over and over again, kind of like an authority in the matter. And Aaron Benner goes to me, he goes, we need to make little videos of you talking in different areas, and then we're going to put them on Facebook and on YouTube, and you're going to be the storyteller. And I'm like, you think anyone's going to want to listen to me? Like, okay. So I totally if you know Aaron, he can wear you down enough that you're like, okay, I'll try it, but I don't think this is going to take off. And one, I'm not telling you anything I haven't told him many a times. And I said, okay, fine. Like, I just appeased him and went, and I think we did 10. And BBG did what they do best, and I put them out there, and I said, all right, let them go. And all of a sudden they started to actually do really well. Like, people were coming up to me and being like, I didn't know about that place, or how do I get there? Or what do you think of this other place? And it started this whole conversation. So I hate to admit it, but Benner was really right, Ugh. But he was. And again, I tell him that all the time. I'm like, I hate to admit it, but you were right. And it's been really fun. We've done a lot. I cannot even tell you how many we've done. We're shooting 20 more this week.
That's incredible.
Of them. And
they're all different.
And they're all different. We go to all different locations, and some of them are state parks, and some of them are attractions. And it's just a really quick, here's a fun fact you may not know about it. You're
like Vanna White from Wheel of Fortune.
Yes.
Almost.
I want to be.
Kind of like that little quick, hey, we're in Washington, D.C.
Just learn more, and here you go. And exactly. And that was the whole idea. And they've been great. I've been at certain restaurants, and people come up and they're like, you're the Adirondack Coast girl. And I'm like, I am. And they'll be like, we went to that vineyard. And I'm like, great, I'm glad to hear it. So it has really gone over well. And we've had people ask for videos to be done and stuff. And we're happy to, for anybody who, is an Adirondack Coast member and things like that.
So do you guys push that for, obviously, tourism? If people you want to see and say, hey, here's our YouTube page. There's a lot of different, because there's some cool videos on there. Beyond just, the Coasting with Kristy, but there's a ton of neat stuff on there.
The Coasting with Kristy is just your gateway into the Adirondack Coast. So the whole idea is it's a quick 15, 30 seconds.
It's like a sampler pack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you're interested in this? You think this is neat? Okay, now let's go dive into Go Adirondack. Go to our YouTube page. There's so much more information, but we've got you interested type thing.
We actually have, let me see. Can you see a bunch of books in there? In one of those boxes, look down. They're like,
yes.
Grab one of those. You'll appreciate.
What do you got going? Oh, you got a blanket. Oh, Discover Plattsburgh?
You see them? Yeah. So this was a BBG special too.
Oh, yeah.
But flip through that. You'd like it because I think there's.
Hold on, I got to stretch. Because I'm so tall. Oh, yeah, I do like this one.
Yeah, so you can take that with you. But these are. So
good picture.
Basically, yeah, so I think a lot of these were. You probably have seen most of these photos.
Yes.
But it was kind of the idea of the same thing. How do we sell the area to people that are coming to the area? One, that obviously need housing, but how do we promote not just like come find a house, but how do we promote it in the sense that this is a place you want to actually live, and you would have no problem uprooting wherever you live now to come to our area and make it a part of your life. So a lot of it is tied into kind of things with the Adirondack Coast and with the idea of trying to push the tourism and everything else. So the pictures are cool. I think on the back it also says go to Adirondack ADK.
That's us.
Go at 80.
Go
Go Adirondack. Yeah.
.com.
So
Yeah.
a lot of that is just trying to promote that aspect, but it's cool. I've had to, at least for my job, I've had a couple times where I've drove people around in the area that were getting jobs, and I was like almost like the tour guide, which again, I'm a very quiet person, so it's a tough gig for me.
Yeah,
but,
me too.
But sometimes I come out of my shell for those, and I have a lot of fun doing that. So like driving people around and just like, and it's funny when I talk about it, I don't think I know that much, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I actually do know quite a bit about the area. I mean, I've lived here my whole life, but there's certain facts that I've been able to. I'm lucky as I get to travel a lot, so I get to see a lot of places, and I'm not traveling 3 hours away. I get to travel 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 10 minutes, so I get to see a lot of roads over and over again. So I get very familiar with different locations, and it's kind of cool. Even some of the stuff that I've found, again, living here my whole life, I didn't know we had an Underground Railroad museum.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be cool to go see. And then, I mean, there's so many things that...
You have to go to that museum. I'm totally going to
great?
Plug it right now. It is an incredible museum.
Because it's in Ausable.
It's right
or
next
Keysville,
to
like down
right
that?
across. If you know where Ausable Chasm is, it's right next door.
Okay.
Ausable Chasm actually gifted them the property.
Oh, okay.
And this building, you walk in and they have an object theater. So they're telling a story and things are lighting up in the room to bring it to life. It is incredible. The whole story is incredible. Then they do bus tours where you can actually go along the route within Keysville and Peru and Ausable. It's just, they have thought of everything. And it's such a different and unique piece of our history that I would have never thought about until I went to this museum.
I got to check that out. Because again, I do like history. And the Underground Railroad was obviously, we learned about that in school. And I always just thought it was fascinating because the whole premise and why they did it. And, but it's like little things like that, or the Transportation Museum. I'm a bad local resident. I've never been to it, but I really should go to some of these. But I watched some of those videos, and I'm like, I didn't know that place existed. Or, oh, that's where that place is.
Right.
Like I've heard of it, and
one.
it's in that location. And yeah, I think there's a lot to do around here, and I think from the tourism aspect of it, that's very cool. Now, your cohort there, Alyssa, she worked directly with you in the tourism aspect of it?
She's our assistant director of tourism and marketing. So
because I see you guys going on some trips together.
Yes.
Those must be somewhat fun. Every once in a while you have fun. Yeah,
she's pretty good, but I don't like to tell her out loud. She's great.
Who actually made more money in the golf thing the other day? Did you guys compare?
Yes, we did. I still have an 11-year winning streak. So I'm pretty proud of myself.
That was good. She told us on the tee too. She goes, "I got to beat Kristy," and I said, "Okay." And you were one of our last ones. Now, obviously, we had a little bit more drinks by the time we got to you, so we might have been a little more generous with.
Yes, and well, I just wasn't going to pay you back. That was the other thing.
That's how you win.
Once people win and try to take my money, I then start hustling them that they're not taking.
You read the fine print, right?
Yeah.
There's actually no winner. Right. You're just a donation. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Go ADK.
Don't take away my paycheck is a good one to say. I use all these things, but Alyssa laughs because she's like, "You are so competitive," and she just doesn't care. And so I'm like, "Well, no, now you're going to care. This is a competition."
Eventually, she'll hate losing when that streak's 21 years, 22 years.
Yeah.
You'll be like,
I mean, we're 5.5 years right now, but I'll keep winning. It's fine. I know. So competitive. It's so ridiculous too. I don't know why. I don't know why. Like, why does that matter? Well, it does.
It does.
It does. I'm sorry.
It's like, wait, me or her? I'm beating you.
Yeah, exactly. It's so
getting
bad.
donations from.
I know.
But obviously, so you two work directly together. Now, how many people work at the chamber right now?
There's 12 of us right now that work at the chamber. Yeah, it's a neat organization. There's 12 of us, but we all do very different things. Mm-hmm. So, like Alyssa and I work together closely on all the marketing and the tourism things. And then Gary works on government affairs, and Jody does a lot of our events and our fundraising and our membership based. And then we sell health insurance there as well. So we do have Lisa who handles all of that. We have obviously a finance department and some admin. And then we have our economic development team with Ashley and Sue and things like that. So, yeah. It's very, there's a lot going on at all times.
At the golf tournament, Ashley dropped a couple y'alls and
our little Georgia Peach.
Yeah, and something else. Nice. We were just busting on her.
yeah.
But yeah, she was so funny.
We laugh at her right now because she's still wearing a sweater around the office.
Is she?
And we're like, it's 105 degrees out. She goes, I know, it's like fall. And we're like, no, this is your week of summer.
Wait, has she been up for the whole season yet?
Yes.
Oh,
So
I was gonna say she's in a rude awakening if she's never lived through January.
No, it was a rude awakening, but she's been here about a year and 3 months now, so
yeah,
with us at least.
She always seems like she's having fun. So
she's great. Oh my God, she's a riot.
So what? I obviously I'm very big in the marketing. It's one of my passions within the company. And so, what are you guys doing right now? Like any new marketing things that you've been up to, scheming on any?
Well, that's funny. I've literally been writing our 2020 marketing plan this whole last 2 weeks, I think. A lot of what we're doing is still trying to move away from photos and really getting into the video and how can we capture people. Social media is huge for us when it comes to marketing. I think I was reading somewhere, and people go to Instagram now for recommendations when traveling from friends and family over a website, things like that. Keeping up with Google is a really time-consuming part of marketing, but it's extremely important for destinations.
Like search words and stuff?
Yeah, any SEO.
Yeah.
They also have stuff now where Google is literally, when you type in a destination, and you've probably done this, all the restaurants come up, all the flights to get there come up, all the reviews come up, so you never have to leave Google, which is killing websites, but they're pulling it off your website. So how do we make sure the best information is being served to Google?
Yeah.
They also... How do we, for lack of a better word, manipulate that to make it what we need it to be? And there are ways to do that. And we're working with Google themselves to bring that up to speed, and, working on Google Maps and making sure that we're not, the Google card gets here and really showcases things and stuff like that. So
where do you market to the most?
Montreal and Quebec, hands down, is our largest market. Most of our traffic comes from there. Most of our visitors come from there. Most of our marinas and our campgrounds, that's who, fill those up in the summer. We've seen recently a really strong growth in like the capital region and Saratoga area. So we're doing some marketing now targeting that area, and started last year, which is really kind of exciting and nothing we've ever been able to do before, but with, the airport and United service into Dulles. We're, for the first time, doing some reverse marketing with the airport, saying, hey, you can actually fly to the Adirondacks and come to the area.
What are you guys able to track who searches from what locations?
Oh, yeah.
And that's number, like what would be roughly like the top 5?
Top 5 locations?
Yeah, that search here. Montreal probably.
Montreal's big. And then I would say Saratoga. The Saratoga Albany bounces back and forth as probably 2 and 3. We do get a lot from Ottawa, who search for us as well. And then I would say, depending on the time of year, we do get a good little surge from like Pennsylvania and the Philly area. I think that has to do with group marketing. It tends to be for fall foliage time. So I think that's when we're getting like our leaf peepers. But those would be our big markets. Because
a lot of times like that, when you track who searches what through Google, it's amazing the spots that search that you wouldn't think about it. Because I remember when I was dealing with like
Quebec's just Quebec in general, we get a lot of.
Yeah, and there's like it's amazing because I've seen lists of people that are like searching to move here, and you're looking at like, and there's some of the spots are like Houston, like, and it was like that's the 7th most and I don't even know if it was Houston, but it was just like you'd have random ones like that where you would think like, you can have Albany, you can have Burlington, you can have probably the greater New York City area.
New York City pops up too quite a bit, but it pops up more in like the spring, summer months. I think it's the escape from the city. I want to come to a lake. I want to go to the mountains. It's usually when they're searching just for Adirondacks, not necessarily like Lake Champlain and things like that. We definitely score high there. Cycling is always a really high.
Do you have any
traffic for us?
Any competition wise for, like, do you have to, I don't know if it's the right way to say competition, but like, do you compete against like the Catskills, or do you compete against the Green Mountains and things like that, where you're trying to persuade them to come to the Adirondacks instead of going to Vermont?
I would think anything within a drive distance is our competition. So, we want them to
Or the White Mountains.
White Mountains. Even, within our region, we're always happy if somebody stays within the kind of the 7 counties that make up the Adirondacks. Mm-hmm. After that, I would say, any parts of New York is our competition. Vermont's our competition. New Jersey can
or
be.
Like the Finger Lake region.
Yep. Western New York, the Hudson Valley, all of those kind of become your competition. The nice thing that happens is we do work with I Love New York, which represents all of New York State. And they're really big on having the different regions work together. So while I say they're our competition, we've really been able to create like itineraries that we've pushed out saying, go to the Catskills and then come to the Adirondacks. And the Catskills will sell the Adirondack portion and we'll help them. So we've been able to really work together as a state as well to show that there's connectivity and you can have different experiences everywhere, and we do help each other out. But at the end of the day, my job is to put heads in beds in this area, and that's what I want to see happen.
I would think that New York would be one of the most diverse, take away the city aspect, but just in general, like the amount of stuff that you can do throughout the state. Because there's some states you go to, and I would think that they'd be very limited based off of geography and again, I don't know, maybe kind of the northwest of New York, like maybe there's not as much to do out there because it's very rural, but I'm sure if you really look, there's a lot going on throughout. Because I think just the Finger Lake region, and then like Niagara Falls, and then the Hudson Valley region, I mean, those are all very distinct in their own
Hudson
way.
Valley.
Yeah. What did I say? What did I say? Did I say Hudson Valley?
Oh, you probably did.
Oh, okay.
Apparently,
that's what I meant. Hudson Valley. If I didn't say Hudson Valley, I meant Hudson Valley. No.
They're all different. I would say there's central New York, which has its own flavor, and the Albany area and Schenectady has really grown, and the racetracks in Saratoga are great, and Lake George is kind of the home of the American vacation and things like that. And I wouldn't disregard New York City. That has its own vibe that nowhere else in New York State has, So you can get
I love
that
New York
urban
City.
feel.
Yeah.
And then you can come up and hike our mountains, and then you've got the wine regions, and you've got the Thousand Islands and Alexandria Bay, and how neat is that it is a dual city with, an Ontario-based, And so it's really interesting. And I think that's one of our challenges when it comes to tourism in New York State.
Too much?
Is there's a lot.
Yeah.
And people get intimidated that there's this giant state and where do I start and what do I do? And so they gravitate to New York City because it seems probably the easiest to navigate. And they're probably, in some regards, really right. It's an easy fly in, fly out. There's a bunch of buses to jump on and jump off, and Broadway and the Statue of Liberty. And but then when they kind of start exploring, there's a million things. So do
you tie a lot in with Lake Placid?
We work with Lake Placid a lot, especially.
I'm sure they have their own kind of
region
or bureau or chamber of commerce. Yeah,
they have their own tourism office that they do things. It's called Roost, Regional Office of Sustainable Tourism, and they're kind of the Adirondack Coast of Essex County. And then, but we work with them with the Adirondack Regional Tourism Council. We work with them when it comes to I Love New York. We work with Franklin County and Malone, and we just kind of. Lake George area, Hamilton County, Lewis, all of those, St. Lawrence County, we kind of encompass all that area.
Do you have to travel a lot for your job?
I do get to travel a lot. I get to travel kind of like you were saying for yours.
Yeah.
To the little areas that are cool in the Adirondack Coast and things like that. But then I do get to travel in a greater sense to trade shows where we're trying to tell people to come to the area and recruit them. We do some great shows up in Montreal. Alyssa attends a motor coach show where she goes and talks to tour operators, and that's usually all over the U.S. and tells them, come up and helps them plan tours and itineraries and things like that. So we do quite a bit of traveling, and it's usually just to tell our story, Here, you get a travel guide, and you get a travel. I'm the Oprah of travel guides.
That's it. I just gave you my travel guide.
I know. So you got a real future here now.
I know. Yeah. if I ever need to switch careers, I'll apply.
Flinging travel guides is great.
So almost like the guy that stands outside with the cardboard and he's spinning the cardboard really fast. I think I would get really good at that.
Next year juggling.
Yes, I can do that. My son loves it in bath time. That keeps him occupied.
Nice.
So the other thing is, were you okay being on camera for all that stuff? Was that easy? Being a mass communication person?
Yeah, that
was second nature?
I want to say it was really hard. Oh, it was so hard. I can't believe I had to do it. But no, it kind of came really easily. And I think it was years invested in knowing our destination and things I just say off the top of my head. It's nerve-wracking sometimes with Chris right there in your face trying to talk to
those cameras are closer
than
they appear.
Yes. I'm like, back up, or if sometimes the owner of the location is standing right there and I'm like, oh God, don't screw this up. And I mean, that's happened and I've done it. And luckily I just let it roll. But no, they've been really fun to do and I enjoy them. And they do make our attractions and our members feel really happy that we're giving them some attention. And I want that. I want them to feel like they're part of the story too. So
yeah,
it's fun. But you can ask Chris, I get hangry. So about
I was going to say, you got 20, I'm assuming that's probably over 2 days.
2 days.
Yeah.
About 9 to 10 a day. So I pack a cooler of snacks, and he's not allowed to touch them. They're mine. And I pretend to offer him snacks, but I don't want him to eat them. And about 3:30, he's like, are you done? And I'm like, I'm done, and I don't want to talk anymore, and I'm not going to smile. And I get a little punchy, but yeah, for the most part, it's really fun. I inevitably screw up my name at least once a day, which is really good. It was funny. In last year's videos that we did, the most popular one was the bloopers. Where
I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, it came out in December. We did it for like New Year's kind of thing. I didn't realize I couldn't say Kristy Kennedy. I must screw it up every time we shoot. So
is it one you just say it so long that all of a sudden you start overthinking? You're like, Kristy, that sounds just weird. Is that really my name?
I think so. Or I just say it so fast it doesn't sound right, or something like that. And there's a lot of takes where I think I was eating a bug, like a bug flies up my nose or my mouth or something like that. So it's kind of fun.
I've had a few. I think, well, you told me you don't swear, but if you took my role of stuff, there's a lot of times I'm saying stuff and then I stop mid-sentence and I'm like, beep, beep, beep. Throw that out. Don't use it. Like, let me restart.
Oh, yeah.
And usually Chris is just like, of course, he just lets it film. So they must love it, just kind of going like, okay, we're going to, after the 6th F-bomb, we're going to cut it and we're going to put that part in because that one works. That was one of my things. I'm usually pretty good, but sometimes I zone out a little bit. He's like, all right, go. And I'm like, wait, what am I talking about again?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Ready? Let's do it.
I can't prepare ahead of time. Like I can't write a script because I'm going to fail it. I've gotten fairly good. It's like one take, but don't ask me. Like he'll be like, well, could you resay? I'm like, no, I can't because it'll go in a completely different tangent. So if you like this, we're going to have to keep it that way.
Yeah, you start pulling in the talking points. Like, well, I did say this, that. I'll try to hit all 3 of those in this next one, and then you don't. It happens once.
Exactly. You get one good take, and I'm done. So
yeah, they're very patient, and unfortunately, the amount of memory they probably have on my bloopers is probably really high, but that's all right. I mean, it makes me. You only see the finished product, so I wish people could. They'll probably make a blooper reel, but again, it's going to be for sensitive or non-sensitive ears.
We made a blooper reel. It was really quite comical, so I enjoyed it, and we did it, like I said, for New Year's, and it was funny. It was the one I think more people came up and commented to me on. It was like, "Oh my God, I saw your bloopers." I'm like, "Yeah, that's who I am." Pretty much a goof.
I was going to say like the real video.
Yeah,
like, this is not real Kristy. This is. She doesn't even know if it's Kristy. She says it wrong. It's not.
I think my name's Kristy Kennedy. I'm not sure, but yeah, no. That's the other thing. Like I'm pretty much an open book. Like who you see on those is who I am, and who you hear and approach me.
So what are your other hobbies? Or we pretty much hit all of them?
I think you've hit most of my hobbies. I'm a crazy cat lady.
Okay.
I will tell you.
How many cats you have?
Right now I only have 2. I've had up to 4 at a time, but I have 2, Milo and Watson. Milo.
Okay.
He's a little orange cat. He's like 14 years old, but acts like he's 3, and he's just a brute. He's really funny. And then Watson, who I call my little dumpster cat because for some reason he just always looks dirty, and I can't figure out why. So
is he a light colored cat?
No, he's black and white. It's very weird, and he's judgy, so judgy.
My son. We don't have any cats, but my son. We have a dog, little Boston Terrier.
Yes.
Whose name is Bob. So if my son sees a dog, it's Bob.
Right.
And we went to the county fair the other day, and there was a black and white cow, and he knows what a cow is. He knows he knows a picture of a cow.
Right.
He doesn't really know a real cow. He knows that cows go moo.
Right.
So then I go, buddy, that's a cow. And he's looking at me and goes, that's a cow. He goes, Bob?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's a cow. He goes, Bob. I'm like, it's Bob.
Yeah.
So
don't fight. It's not worth it.
Yeah. So I'm like, you're right, buddy. He's black. He's white. It's an animal.
You win.
It's a Bob. Everything's a Bob. So, that.
I do.
That the cat.
My cat's Watson. He's funny. He also has the grumpy cat face sometimes. Like I feel like I'm being judged by my own cat. I'm like, I could just open the door. You understand that, right?
I won't get into it right now, but I'm not a cat person. So.
You're either a cat person or you're not.
I'm a not cat person.
See, but I've never had a dog because I'm not a dog. I like dogs. I don't want a dog, if that makes sense, because I love my cats.
Yeah.
I'm also all I watch on television is the Food Network, all the time.
Are you do you cook?
I do cook.
What's your favorite thing? Are you a cooker or baker?
See, both, except around Christmas time where I solely bake.
That's good.
That's it. Like Christmas cookies.
So do you have like a go-to meal?
This time of year, I love grilling. I love to grill.
I might go get a grill tonight.
You should.
I mean, I have one. I have a grill. It's old, broke. I'm getting a new one. So grilling.
I love grilling. Steak and potatoes and like roasted vegetables on the grill. Hands down, my favorite thing to make.
Roasted corn on the grill.
Oh, roasted corn, zucchini, all of that.
I haven't had that in a while.
That's good. Cauliflower. I just like to grill everything. And then I like in the winter to make like chili and beef stew.
That comfort food.
Yeah.
Crock
Chicken
pot.
and dumplings. All that.
I don't get to cook that often. I love cooking, but it's usually like a Saturday or Sunday.
Yes.
Typically, it's a little harder now. We do grilling, which it's usually quicker process. But in the winter, if I can get like a Saturday, we have nothing going on. I know we're home for the night, and I can even better when I can find like I do this sometimes on Saturdays. Is like in the morning. I'm such an old man now, but I get excited.
Yeah, what happens?
I'll get excited. I'll find like a recipe, and I'll be like, I'm going to the grocery store.
Yep.
I'm picking everything I need. I'm getting so excited. I come home and I make like a meal, and then I eat it. I clean it all up. Like the whole process takes me all day, and I love it. And
it becomes like the Iron Chef of that day. So
and I use all the knives I usually don't use, all the dishes I don't use, and I'll make like, maybe it might be a good roast or a meat, but then I'll make like a gravy to go with it. I'll there's layers to it. Yes. It's not just like, I'm just going to like grill some chicken and throw like some rice packet on it and like the boring Monday through Friday meals.
He's now baking bread. It becomes a whole thing.
Yeah, my wife's more of a baker. She's very good. She makes the desserts, so we're always the dessert family, meaning when we go to a party, like bring a dish to share, 99% of the time we're bringing a sweet. Yeah. And but the food aspect, I'm a grill cooker guy. But yeah,
I'm a grill. And my chocolate chip cookies are my claim to fame when I bake. It's
are they real buttery?
They are pretty buttery.
The reason I say that, I had an old aunt that made a real buttery cookie, and it was the best ones ever.
Yeah. And they're like kind of thick, but not.
They chewy or crunchy?
Chewy.
Good.
Chewy.
Good choice.
You can't do crunchy.
I'm not a crunchy cookie guy. It's a waste. I will not eat it.
It is. So yeah, I become quite the baker only around Christmas time.
Are you an ice cream person?
I'm not. Because I'm super lactose intolerant.
I knew that was coming. If you're not an ice cream person, the only reason you're not is because you can't have it. But if you could have it, you would eat it.
Oh, I would. Totally eat it. And and I always hate when people go to like the ice cream stands and there I am with my Dole Whip, which is delicious because I don't know anything else in my life, but...
Oh, the other day...
It can't be as good as ice cream.
Was that at Iceberg? I don't know. They had lime Dole Whip.
That's really good.
I loved it.
So let's talk Dole Whip. They have vanilla Dole Whip and lime sometimes, and if you get it mixed, it's pretty tasty.
I think that's...
Is that what you had?
Actually,
he had ice cream. He didn't.
I had a large
it.
flurry, and I had the Dole Whip because I wanted to try it, so I had two. People were like, "Did you get two?" I'm like, "Yeah."
You're like, "Yeah."
I was gonna say, what's the question?
Yeah.
What was I?
This is only open seasonally. I have to get it all in now.
What part don't you understand? I had to try this, and I had the full, like last night we might have got cookie dough flurries, but it was good.
I live within walking distance to Harrigan's. It's not good.
At least you walk there.
No, I don't. In my head, so I'm always like, I should walk.
You rationalized it, but I'm in walking distance.
I'm in walking distance, so I'm always like, okay, I'm going to walk there. But then it's about 6:30 at night, and the bugs come out.
Oh,
and I'm like, well, I can't walk there. I'm going to get eaten alive.
Yep.
But I'm still going to go. So I literally hop in my car, drive a mile at the most, and eat my Dole Whip. But I could walk.
Have you ever had the coconut milk one?
Yeah, that sounds
so delicious.
Pretty good.
Those are actually good.
I
had those in the past. Sometimes when I'm trying to eat halfway decent, and I'm not a huge sweet person, but right now because it's so darn hot out, I have some of those Halo Top ones at home.
Yeah,
which is kind of like there's not as much like sugar and fat in it. Basically, they just make it a different kind of product. Yeah. But I find those are okay. Like if you just want something cold to munch on.
And they now have a non-dairy option.
Oh, do they?
Well. So does Ben & Jerry's.
Really?
With almond milk.
Well done on their part because Ben & Jerry's is clutch.
It is so good.
But I think the one I like Ben and Jerry's, but sometimes they have a little too much flavor in it.
Yeah.
So give me a cookies and cream from Stewart's, and I'm a happy camper.
Yeah.
Because Stewart's ice cream's tough to beat. It's a
good.
we take it for granted, but it's a good ice cream, I think.
It's funny you say that. People will talk about it like that.
Do you have that on the
We do on
Go
the
Adirondack?
Yes,
we have Stewart's ice cream.
We do, and we just had a travel writer write about Stewart's and their ice cream and stuff like that. Yeah, it has its own claim to fame for sure.
You must have been to Happy Pike, Shazy?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And their donut cones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My aunt owns it, and so it's like right down from my parents' camp. But basically, I grew up down in that area, and they've done very well. Talking about like a touristy thing, they've been able to kind of tap into that tourist idea of being right in the water, and it's nice like when you go. Because it's got the breeze coming off. It's from my knowledge, I think it's the only place really on the water that you can get ice cream.
Oh yeah,
most stuff's inland, So I think the fact that you can go down there and go hang out and just sit out by the water, walk across the road and sit next to the water, it's nice.
And they have a great product. Like it
well,
people do talk about it. It's not like it's just.
It's becoming like a destination spot. Yeah. And I remember when she first opened, that was the thing. It's like, people really come up to Shazy just for ice cream. But the fact that you're on the water and the food's good and there's a very diverse menu.
And they've done good too with our cyclists. I know a lot of cyclists stop there, and it's a place to rest because that whole route is really where they want to go because they can ride right along the water and stuff like that. So
that's a great spot.
There should be more. Yeah, we should have ice cream right now.
I got vodka.
I
really don't have much to offer you right now.
Really.
I think I got some pita from Aleka's.
Oh,
another good spot
that's a great one.
That's got to be on it. Have you ever had the Greek fries there?
Yes, that is one of
I didn't get it tonight, but that's like crack. Actually, I'm so excited tonight because I'm just plugging everything in downtown Plattsburgh. Last night I got back and my wife's like, I want sushi. So we're big Yama people. So love Yama sushi. So we ended up going to Yama, and of course I did not eat the greatest. I did it well. I did it up well. We just had a lot.
If you're going to eat sushi, just eat sushi.
No, not even sushi. I'm saying like from Maine.
Oh yeah, well.
So then I was so then I came back and I was like, well, I'm going to get kind of what I normally get, and I ate half of what I normally get. So I have a pretty good amount of sushi left for tonight's dinner.
There you go.
Sushi the next day is not the greatest, but it will do.
If you have to.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. But you sushi?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yama or Kodo? You don't care?
I don't. I'll go with either.
I'll eat either, but
Yama's really good.
The one thing that
really good.
The one thing I like about Yama, and it's the simplest thing in the world, and Kodo, if you're listening, Kodo people, is the wooden chopsticks versus the plastic chopsticks.
Yes. Okay.
The wooden chopsticks, they're a little bit smaller. They're
easier for you to use.
Well, they also have the wood has a little bit of a grip to it, and the plastic ones. Every time I get them, and they slip. And it's a mess. So if I get the wooden, but if you get Kodo to go, they give you wooden chopsticks.
Oh.
But when you show up, they give you the plastic. And I'm not a plastic. I know it's like a very random pet peeve of mine. I take my sushi.
Really thought about chopsticks.
Sushi and my coffee very seriously.
Apparently, I'm learning so much.
Yeah, so sushi. And I guarantee there's people that are listening, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
I do now that you say it. I'm like, oh yeah.
So next time you go to Kodo and you guys are fiddling with realize that the actual
Could we
plastic.
Just ask for other ones? You think? Can we have
I think so.
chopsticks?
I honestly go and never remember to ask for the to go, and I just sit there and curse as I'm eating my. As it's sliding off and landing in the soy sauce and splashing, and then taking sushi out of when it's been submerged and it's just done.
No,
it's so salty, and I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah, this has been great. I love salty sushi.
I do put everything on the sushi though. I put the ginger, I put the wasabi, I load it all up. It's production. But
see, I don't. I eat it just the way it is.
Do you do sashimi, just the raw fish?
Oh yeah, I'm fine with that too.
Is it nigiri's when they just put? I actually
over the rice.
I actually like that a lot too because it's kind of plain.
I don't think I've actually tried that.
It's not. It's just fish and rice. It's not like it's a big.
It's not life changing.
No, it's not life changing by any means. But I don't know. I think sometimes the simplicity of it's nice.
I know.
You put too much sauce on it, sometimes it gets a little crazy. Even though I say that, but last night I got the American Dream Roll, which basically it's like I forgot which fish was in it, but it has some cream cheese, which I used to not be a big cream cheese in sushi, but it's grown on me. It's got a little tempura fry to it, and it's very good. It's got a very distinct taste to it, but that one's not bad to try.
I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, but then there's like the Mars rolls, and you got the Tiger roll, and it's the classic. So
I just like all of it.
Food.
I love food.
The foodie. I think we go back and say
food.
Foodie. So,
yes.
Kristy, we're gonna Yeah, because I took your allotted time here. You got to go to the gym or go eat or do something.
I probably have to eat.
Probably a little of both. Yeah, you're getting
I'll
hangry.
eat on my
we're
way.
We're gonna let her go before she gets hangry.
Eat on my way.
So, if anybody wants to find you, follow you, check anything out, plug anything you want right now about.
The biggest thing I would ask is if you want to learn more or learn about tourism in the area, just follow anything Adirondack Coast. And that's our handle on Instagram and on Facebook. Go Adirondacks, the website, check out the chamber, get more involved in the community. Anything like that, you can contact me at the chamber anytime you want. So.
And check out their Instagram page because there's some really, really, really cool photos.
Yes.
That's actually one of my favorite pages to follow just because... And I love how you take it from people.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just kind of a mash. It's a mashup of a bunch of people's vantage points and editing skills and all that, but it's really cool.
And what's really neat about that is that it's not us telling you the story. That's people really here visiting in their eye and what they see and what they're doing, and that's.
I'm big on third-party testimonials, and that literally is a full page of just testimonials because people are taking local and there's times you'll post a photo and I'll click on that person that you give the credit to, and I find out and I'm like, they're from like Maine or Michigan usually. Or whatever, and so not always local people, which is really cool to see.
Definitely. So any of those, and like I said, I'm at the chamber for at least 40 hours a week, if not more. So contact me there and ask questions, and I'm always happy to
stop in and have some coffee.
Yes, have coffee. Bring me dairy-free ice cream. Or cookies. I'm really good with cookies.
Or a non-IPA beer.
A non-IPA. Do not bring me an IPA. I will not talk to you at that point.
You'll be shunned right out of the building.
I will tell you why these are awful immediately.
So, and Kristy, before you go, give us your favorite quote.
My favorite quote? Oh, wow. That's a tough one. I don't know.
Or words of wisdom.
My words of wisdom, and this is just the way I live by, but if I am not laughing and not having fun, then I'm not doing it. And I remember in my interview with Gary, he said, "Do you want the job?" And I said, "I will take the job as long as I'm laughing." I said, "The minute I stop having fun is the minute I stop doing this job." And to this day, that is my kind of mantra. Yep.
So you've been laughing for 11 years.
I've been laughing. I've been having fun. And I just, I don't, never take yourself too seriously. I'm not serious, oddly enough.
That's one of my favorite things, and I think honestly why I've been able to do and meet a lot more people the last couple of years because I've been really more myself, just like goofy and fun and not caring, and it's so much fun. I have a blast working every day.
Exactly.
Like it's so fun. You meet so many cool people, and the chamber is a big reason why I've met some great people, and some, like I said, some really at this point. I would suspect very lifelong friends because we've had a blast and we do a lot of stuff together. So
it is.
All right, we'll wrap up there. If anybody wants to find Kristy, she just told you how to do it. No non-IPA beer and non-dairy ice cream, and you are her best friend. So, Kristy, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you. This was fun.
You still got your radio persona and voice is still good. You still got it. So
but this time I'm not talking to a wall, which is awesome.
That'd be weird. I've had to do that once ever, and that was when Matt Craig's goat had an issue, and he had to cut the podcast short.
Yes.
And I talked for like 20 minutes, and then I was like, "It's odd. It's very odd." I'm like, I'm wondering. This is very strange.
Is there a camera?
Yeah, I know. I started looking, and I'm like, but cool. So, Kristy, thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
Go follow her. Go ADK. This is episode 41 of the Gaelan Trombley Show. We're out. Thanks for listening to the Gaelan Trombley Show. If you want to reach me, you can go on Facebook at Gaelan Trombley, on Instagram at Gaelan Trombley, and on YouTube at Gaelan Trombley. The spelling, GaelanTrombley.